episode of the Swamp Inside Florida Athletics. I'm your co-host, Anthony Beck, along with my other co-host,
Jerry Brown.
And Marcus Davis batting third.
We are back, finally, after a week hiatus. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, man. Tired, hungry, but I'm ready to talk some Gator football, though, for sure.
Same here, bro. I'm ready to talk this Gator stuff. Tired, I'm hungry, but Gators won. Not the way I would have liked it, but again, you got out there with a dub on the Kentucky.
That's facts.
And with that, we bring in our special guest who recently appeared on here and back for more. We have Allie Peak joining us tonight. Allie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, guys. I'm glad to finally be back. Glad our schedules aligned a little bit here. This is fun.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. I guess we'll call it the shambolic win that we should have never been this close. I don't know what happened, but and as you can see, Jerry just went and disappeared. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him after watching that game. I was like, man, what are we doing here? After like the third, fourth possession. But again, we won. But you gotta play better than that against Charlotte. You just gotta.
Yeah, and Allie, I know you had a front row seat, so yeah, go ahead and kind of explain to the wonderful people that's on here what the hell that was.
I think there's a lot of things at play. First of all, Napier told us all week long that they practiced terribly. You play exactly how you practiced. This is a really young team. I think Tennessee's probably their first emotional win, right? And so I think there's a lot of times letdowns with younger teams on big wins like that. I think we saw that. I think there's a possibility they got a little high on themselves, and that kind of is what the bad practicing and stuff was about. I also think, it was a hodgepodge offensive line. We're missing 2 starters because of suspensions the first half of the game. We're missing Iguakin because of an injury. The offensive line's not nearly as deep as some of us led us to believe this offseason. So, I think that's part of it as well. And I also didn't love the play calling, but I also think we're trying to show as little as humanly possible. Silver lining, we have a kicker now, so there's a win there. Rest of special teams, not that impressed, but kicking, we're good. We're good. Punting was good. Kickoffs were good. Field goals were good. We took a step in the right direction there.
Who knew we had Luke Groza on the bench this entire time? Shout out Trey Smack.
I mean, Napier had to know. A lot of times kickers are head cases in practice. So there could be a scenario. I'm not saying this is what happened because I don't know, but could be a scenario where Mahalik is just kicking better than Smack in practice consistently. So that's why you go with Mahalik. Smack was signed. When he was getting recruited by Mullen, and he called Eric and asked him to come up so that we could meet his family and talk to him during his recruitment. He had Caleb Sturgis up there at the same time. They wanted him really bad. So I was always kind of confused how he wasn't just the guy the last 2 years, but just kind of always chalked it up to potentially practicing poorly. One of the things that Eric had said, though, is that when you watch Mahalik, all of his kicks for the last 2 years have been super low, which leads to blocks. And if we're only going to play 10 guys on special teams, which seems to be our pattern where
they kept doing it.
Oh my God, 3 separate times on Saturday. It's happened in 3 out of 4 games this year. That's not a fluke. That is we don't really care. We haven't been counting. It is what it is, which I don't love. But I don't know. I don't know why they didn't make this move sooner, but I'm super glad they made it now because it hasn't yet really cost us a game. So great. Let's got our kicking house in order. Moving forward should be better.
Now, can we put 11 guys on the field next time? Because last time I checked, it's 11 per team on the field at once, not 10, not 9, not 12.
The amount of times this has happened is wild. You don't see it happen that many times for a high school team. I mean, if I was a Pop Warner coach, you'd be riding the bench if you weren't doing what you were supposed to be out there. So I don't understand. But Napier's comments in the press conference were weird to me too, where he basically was like, oh, NFL teams get penalties all the time. And, it was a certain set of circumstances. So we're okay with it. How are you ever okay with the wrong number of guys going out repeatedly?
Yeah, there's no way I'd be okay with that. I don't even understand. I don't even understand what he was trying to do, but just not the time for that when you've had special teams blunders all season long. So Like
That's
for
gonna
that,
bite you in the ass one day because you have to have the right amount of people on the field. 10 men cost Notre Dame a football game against Ohio State this weekend. It's gonna
100%.
cost you if you don't be careful, Billy.
We didn't send a returner out on punt return one of the times. Like,
Oh God,
legit didn't have somebody to field the ball. I
no
don't.
way,
Yes.
no freaking way.
That's nasty work, man.
somebody, but he wasn't in pads. He was just wearing a jersey, so we can't throw him out there. Sorry, Trey Wilson, you couldn't go out there, but I mean,
Yeah.
who won't throw out there?
That's a weird deal to me. Like, get your guys out there. I don't know what Coach Couch is doing. Not much, clearly.
Sitting
On the couch.
Not changing the game very much.
No, I mean, or is for the negative. I mean,
Oh, he's changing the game, just not in the right way.
yeah,
Right?
not call it game changers till it's at least a positive. That would be cool because that's
It's not been a great week for my teams, the special teams this weekend. First, Florida doesn't know how to line 10 people up. And then my Jaguars gave up a touchdown to a fullback, 90 yards.
On a kick return.
on a kicker.
First of all, he muffed it. So it's like, okay, you kick it short to a guy who doesn't have the ball very much. He drops it. Just get down there and make tackle. One guy misses. Two guy misses. Another guy misses. Goes down the right sideline. There's nobody there. The kicker ain't gonna tackle him because he doesn't tackle anybody, letting on a fullback. And then he hurls over somebody, and then all of a sudden he hits his head on the goalpost.
The funniest part was the fact that he outran everybody, and he wasn't even going that fast. So,
Look at that. Apparently he was like 22 miles an hour recording the next gen. I was like, no way. No freaking way.
Did you guys pull an Alabama, Auburn, just have all fat guys out there?
I guess, because that's the only explanation I got. Because ain't no way a fullback is taking 90 yards to the crib on me. No way.
Yeah, but and looking at that, there was some positives though. Graham Mertz efficient once again.
Yeah.
The way we need him to be. Would have liked to seen Trevor Etienne get more carries, as his brother alluded to. And by the way, yeah, no more tweeting about your brother and then going out having a game like you did.
Hey,
He played fine. What are you talking about?
Don't do that no more.
Travis played good. What do you mean?
he was okay. It was just a
He
Jaguars.
was no problem.
You got flued out and blued out at home to the Texans.
He was the only thing that was working on offense. So, I mean, you can tweet all you want to. I don't care.
But I mean, I would have liked to have seen him get more carries. We get it, Travis. We all would.
Us too.
We all
Yeah.
would.
No, trust me, we do too.
But it was nice to see Andy Jean finally get out there and start getting some playing time. So we're getting more of these young receivers involved.
So many young guys on defense too had tackles.
Oh my
Like, there
gosh.
was like 25 guys that got in there and had at least a tackle. That's pretty awesome. This defense is so young, and each week though getting a little bit better.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see out of a team so young. You want to see guys get in. You want to see guys make plays. Line up where it's supposed to be. They just do their job. So that's really remarkable for a team with a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds out there in the two deep at a lot of spots. Like, we have a true freshman and two sophomore at safety, and they're more or less holding it down. Shout out Castell and Mitchell. Yeah, Kelby Collins rotating in. He made some nice plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, TJ Searcy, he does what he does every time he's on the field. He makes an impact. So I'm really glad to see everybody just flowing well with this defense. Shout out Austin Armstrong. I had my jokes in the offseason. I had my concerns, but you've alleviated about 99% of them. So good job.
And also, wouldn't mind seeing a little more Bryce Thornton either because
Oh, he's nice.
Oh, I like Bryce.
like these are not normal freshmen. I'll say that.
Oh no.
These are not normal freshmen. These are guys that look like they've been in the SEC for 3 years, literally because of the program, the weight program.
Yep.
But they look like they've been in the league for 3 years, like they're veterans. And that's what I love seeing. This defense is growing every single day, every single week. Like this young team is growing up every single week. And looking at the numbers, this is the number 1 defense in the SEC and the number 5 defense in the country.
Yep.
So
Could you imagine if we told you that in July that was going to be the case? That I mean, I feel like there's no way any of us would have bought that. But it says really good things about Billy Napier's ability to evaluate talent. And then
Yeah.
obviously Austin Armstrong to be able to develop it with a quickness, since he's only been the defensive coordinator for just a few months. Like that, the long-term prognosis for that is astounding. Imagine this defense in 2 years.
With the linebackers we have coming in, I mean, I can't even imagine how. And Xavier going to be at safety. We're going to be loaded. I'm excited about the defense.
This defense is gonna fly, and like it's a good mix of young freshmen, young sophomores who are getting in and doing their thing, but also just enough guys from like the portal and just enough guys with experience, like a Princey Ellen's helping, Caleb Banks from Louisville's helping a lot. Cam Jackson, he's been a godsend for this defense.
Yeah.
It's taken such a load off of a guy like Desmond Watson, so he doesn't have to be on the field for like 50, 60 snaps and fighting for his life out there. You just have Cam out there do his thing. He's moving guys. He's athletic. He's making plays. He was huge against Tennessee. So that was one of my favorite transfers coming in, and he's lived up to the billing.
Yep.
Yeah, they just honestly, they need to get this offensive line deeper and stronger, and they need to work on some of this play calling. I mean, Florida moved the ball on Saturday. They just didn't in the red zone. And I don't know what your take is on this, but like the first drive was awesome, right? But that whole drive for sure was scripted. That was probably scripted 2 days before the game happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when the first time things don't go the way that Napier wants them to go, it's like he's less creative when he has to come up with the plays on the fly. And so I think that's why you see like Johnson. Like I just think he's all right. Let's just do this play. All right, just do this again. That kind of work. Do it again. And we need maybe a passing game coordinator. We need something like down the paper. He can do it. It's the in-game play calling that is just not his forte.
Yeah, it's just with the passing game coordinator, like a team like say LSU in 2019, that worked wonders for them because their running game was really nice, and Steve Emmonsmaker was very good for them. But they got Joe Brady in, they dialed up a whole bunch of things in the passing game. They ran a lot of slants, but they did a whole lot of really fun things behind it. And then you got Jamar Chase and all those guys out there, Joe Burrow at quarterback. You make magic. So here, the run game concepts are really fun, especially when they run like gaps and things like that. But in the passing game, a lot of the things that he wants to do aren't really conducive to getting guys open down the field. Plus, a lot of it's just really, really condensed. So it's not the most creative thing in the world. It's kind of rudimentary. It needs a little bit more of a spice. So a passing game coordinator will probably do wonders.
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't relied on Billy Gonzalez more for that. And like maybe we'll see that moving forward. But like you don't have to make a massive change. He's already on your staff. If you gave a little bit of that responsibility to him, which then alleviates a little bit on Napier, maybe allows him to be a little bit more creative with the running game, or just kind of dial his responsibilities down a tiny bit, because he's just got so many on game day. He wears so many hats, and for somebody that's got 1,000 guys on staff, like give the reins to somebody else just for a little bit, and it probably would have massive impact across the board.
Yeah, plus the less you think about stuff, the better. Just be a CEO on game days. Just be like, okay, what's going on here? Okay, check in with the offense, see what's going on back there. But more or less, just give those guys autonomy and just let them coach. And just worry about the X's and O's and down distance type of things like that. That'd be a big help.
And that was something that I thought, him getting all these coaches would be something that he would take advantage of more. But for some reason, I feel like he's just like kind of so adamant about, taking on all these responsibilities and being Superman. But you can't do that, in the middle of a game, especially. And it tells a lot whenever we get down in the game. It's like we cannot recover because he's doing too much, right? Yeah. So I think that we do have to get an offensive coordinator, a passing game coordinator, something, an analyst to be able to help and even call plays, because I think it's unacceptable to get down at the 10-yard line against Charlotte and not have the confidence to go for it. I mean, I don't know what was going on. I was a little upset for sure, but we have to do something about that because we have the talent to. Arliss Boardingham is a big guy. I think he has a lot of talent. We need to utilize him more. And we can utilize a double back set that I think would be tremendous for us, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Or if he wants to call plays, I mean, there is somebody there with a statue outside the building or
that's not happening.
in the stadium. him and say, "Hey, what can I do with here?" Or the smallest amount of help right there would help. Even just a little bit.
Think that his ability to be flexible, to adapt, to not have an ego when it comes to the play calling and things like that are going to determine his long-term success. We want Billy to be the guy. He's an incredible recruiter. He's obviously a great CEO. The culture at the football team has completely turned over. All of those things are massive positives. But at the end of the day, if you don't win, none of that will matter. And so are you able to be self-reflective? All right, I might not be the best person to call plays on game day because I have all of this other stuff that I'm responsible for as well. Can he hand those off and then be successful, be the guy, have this program continue to win or not? But the sooner he's willing to make changes, and I think they could be subtle within the staff. You don't have to, you're not hiring an offensive coordinator midseason. You're just not. But if you give some responsibilities to some of these other coaches, special teams, passing game coordinator, things like that, and an improvement shows, you're buying goodwill from this fan base. And he needs that whole probably 4 years to really see this transformation happen. But if he's unwilling to make changes in year 2, people are going to be less willing to be forgiving and provide grace, as he gets the time moving forward.
Right.
You just can't be stubborn. You got to make the changes when you can and make some adjustments on the fly if possible. But stubbornness, ego, all those type of things will determine if he's here in 2 years or not.
Yeah, is he Ron Zook or is he Urban Meyer? And that's what some of these decisions will ultimately tell us.
Right. Always kill me with that comparison.
Ron Zook's downfall was that he had his hand in everything and he refused to give up control. And so hopefully that's not Napier. He doesn't come across as egotistical. He doesn't come across as too stubborn. However, the game film this year might tell me otherwise. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're 3-1, so
doing something right, I guess. But you beat Tennessee and you remind them who daddy is. So
if you beat Kentucky, then I don't care about last weekend.
I agree, and I really want to go in there and just beat them to I want to kill them. I hate Kentucky as of the last 3 years. We need to go in there and do damage.
You know how they felt the 31 prior.
Yes, right, for sure.
Right, this don't feel right. I'm gonna need another 31 game win streak to start this Saturday.
But I think it can. I think this team got up for Tennessee. They overperformed for Tennessee, and I think that we did see kind of the letdown of that last week. But if they play like they played against Tennessee, they will beat Kentucky, and there will be no crowd noise that they need to contend with. It's it's a noon kick in Lexington. There's nothing intimidating about that. This team can do that, but Napier doesn't have a great record on the road right now as Florida's head coach, and he's had to play some tough away games. So, some of that is circumstance, but they can change that. And listen, they could be 2-0 in the East. And I think we would not really care about Utah, not really care, about anything. Just be pumped that we're 2-0 in the SEC East.
Yeah. And even with the Utah thing right now, we're looking at them a couple weeks into the season. It's okay, you're a really young team. You lost to one of the best teams in the country on the road. It is what it is.
And you corrected some of the things that were problems already moving forward, which I think that's we didn't see procedural penalties from McNeese State on. That happened in Utah, but they got in and they corrected them. We're on the road to correcting at least the kicking part of the special teams. They've taken lessons from that and applied it. And honestly, if we're going to lose one early, we'd rather it be Utah than Tennessee or Kentucky, right?
That's true. You never want to go down in the division so early in the season. Get up 2-0, set yourself up nice. This is a very nice stretch where you can get yourself together. You can figure out what you are in the SEC. And then going into Georgia, you see, okay, we got some momentum going in.
Yeah. We legitimately, if Florida plays like they played against Tennessee, we could go into Georgia 6-1. I'm not saying we're going to, but we have the ability to.
Yep.
It's just all about getting up and executing and preparing correctly, which hopefully they learned that lesson on Saturday, and hopefully they got their asses chewed out in the facility for it.
And that's the downside of a really young team. They got to learn it, right?
It's up and down.
Seesaw.
Yeah.
Right. And me personally, I don't expect it to be any crowd noise for the Kentucky game, but then again, this is Lexington, Kentucky. We're talking about what the hell is there to do there? But I mean,
But it's better than a night game.
you said what?
It's better than a night game, though. I
Oh,
mean, a night
yes.
game in
That's
Lexington
better.
is an intense environment. I'll give me a noon game all day long. You know.
Yeah, night games
Oh,
at
yeah.
Kentucky have been scary. So I do agree with that 100%. I do agree with that. So I previewing that game real quick with you because we know you're pressed for time, but like what do you see? What do you think that Florida really needs to? What's going to be the one thing that you think they need to focus on to really get the win against Kentucky?
Florida's offensive line has to play better. I think we should know Wednesday if we get Iguacan back or not. They're thinking he's practicing tomorrow, so hopefully he is. Hopefully we get him back. I think that is a massive difference maker. Obviously, we'll have Micah Mazuka back. Leonard George will play the entire game. So I think that will really help. But our offense has to be able to move the ball. That starts with the offensive line. We've got to be able to score when we get in the red zone. We can't kick 5 field goals and beat Kentucky, more than likely. I think Florida's defense just continue doing what you're doing. But I'm going to pick one area that just has to play better, it's offensive line.
I wholeheartedly agree.
But the offensive lines usually take a minute to gel, which is one thing. So hopefully, second conference game, they should be a little bit better. Kingsley being back, if he is healthy and is able to play, is going to be massive.
Oh, massive.
Because you can't go on the road in conference without experience, and he's the most experienced lineman we got. He's played 4 years in this conference. He's been through it all. You got to take him on the road with you. He is your best center by far, as we've seen in the last couple of games. So you're going to need him. And the right tackle, Damian George, he has to play better. He just has to.
Yeah.
And Micah, no more squaring up on people. We can't have that again. we just
Hey man, I'll allow it for that instance. For that instance, I'll allow it.
I mean, I was fine with it too. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like, I was jumping up and down when I was watching it.
I'm pretty sure that's why he set the second half of this past game, though, was because he thought he was in a boxing ring, so they needed to have their own little punishment in house too. That's my there, but
I watched a lot of boxing growing up. I'm a huge boxing fan. I know a boxer when I see one. That is a boxer. He got in the stance and everything.
Oh, there was no like hiding what he was doing. He was expecting him to like
nothing whatsoever.
Like, let's go.
It's like he's doing it in full pads with helmets on. Mind you, throwing punches with helmets on is maybe the dumbest thing you could do on the football field. And yeah, he's like, screw that. I'm fine for the logo.
That was crazy.
I mean, but think about the goodwill that bought him in the locker room. It probably was worth the suspension.
Yeah. The accountability was basically some steps in the stadium, and Napier saying, "Why'd you do that? You can't do that. Good job."
Literally, like, be a little slicker about it next time, bud. The whole 1,000 people in the stadium watched you.
Yeah, I agree. He's out on the field, and as soon as they get to the locker room, good job, so.
Way to defend your guy.
Right.
Yeah. You're suspended for the second half of next week, but good job.
Yeah, salute.
Low management, baby. That's all it is.
Yeah, definitely. Allie, we know you're pressed for time, so let everybody know. First of all, let's get a prediction out of you on the game, but then let everybody know where they can follow you and everything.
All right. Well, I think Florida wins. I'm going to go with 28-21. And actually, I don't even. 21 might be a lot for our defense. They've done a pretty darn good job. The most they've allowed is 16, but I'll stick with 28-21. And you can find me a peek inside Gator football on YouTube. And thanks for having me, guys. This was fun. We definitely need to do it again later in the season.
Absolutely.
No.
Definitely will. We appreciate you for coming on and joining us tonight.
No problem. You guys have a good night.
You as well, Allie.
You as well. That was Allie Peak, and we should have another guest joining us very soon. So, while we wait on them to join us,
I just want to say I'm eating pita chips, bro. So y'all bear with me, bro. It's been a long day.
Pita chips.
there's a reason why this man is crunching on everything right now, and we figured out the reason.
My God.
That being
The man is unhinged and eating pita chips, like you just said.
It's just, oh my god,
Pita chips?
they're top five, absolutely top five.
I must try those pita chips.
But I do believe. Well, let's kind of recap. As we get our guest on a little bit later. So we weren't on last week, so we got to discuss the Tennessee game, and we also got to discuss the Charlotte game, and do our own little extra preview, I guess, of Kentucky. So going back to Tennessee, what does y'all think?
That may be the most complete game, top to bottom, of the entire Billy Napier era. Like, defense was on point. The offense did everything they had to do. Move the ball. Grant Mertz was exceptional until his hand freaking got cut open in the second half, so he got a little more conservative. But the offensive line played way better than I thought they were going to do that day. Defense was dominant. Cam Jackson, in particular, was amazing. Scooby Williams was good as usual. And man, I just love the way they played that night, bro. I just loved everything about it.
Yeah, bro. Like, me too. It was surreal seeing how great the defense played. We were flying around. Salute to my future All-American, Jordan Castell. That guy he's unreal for a freshman. Like, I don't know if I've seen a freshman safety like him since – who's the last freshman safety that we had that was this, like, instinctive, confident, calm, like –
Hey, man. I couldn't even
tell you. I cannot tell you.
You see every single reason why he came on campus and got a starting job as a true freshman here. You see every single bit. He's got great instincts. He's a sure tackler. He has speed, which Lord knows we need in that back end after what we saw last year, last couple of years, really. So I'm really, really pleased with how he's progressed. I'm really pleased with how this defense as a whole has progressed from week to week. They've been rock solid. They've been in position. Austin Armstrong's dialing up great pressures.
Mm-hmm.
You play a lot of tight formations against Tennessee to keep things inside because you want Tennessee to run the ball on you for the most part. Like, they're a better running team than what they usually are, but you don't really want them going out the air. And it's a difficult offense to play because they change everything up. They use every single blade of grass humanly possible. And Joe Milton could throw the ball 1,000 miles an hour and 1,000 yards. So they really did their thing. Joe Milton was pretty ineffective for the most part, except for maybe a couple throws here and there, especially early. Mm-hmm. But overall, defense flew around. Linebackers were great. They were disciplined. They made the tackles when they had to make tackles for the most part. Great fourth down stop by Scooby. All in all, good performance.
That's actually a pretty interesting question, Rob. I have not thought about it, but I think it's a valid point to bring up. I mean, I do see where you're coming from. I don't think he's as efficient rolling left. So they bring pressure off the right side and force him to roll left, and that might be something that, is an issue. But I would hope we'd be able to game plan around that and put him in situations where he'd be able to get the ball out quicker. So say like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, 3rd and manageable. But that's something that I haven't really thought about. Actually, I have not really thought about it. And I wouldn't see why
I think one thing it works well for defense to do that because he's not the most mobile guy in the world. Like, he's not a statue. He's not someone that really wants to go out and run all the time. But that helps. So it helps him like speed up his process. Plus, again, our passing concepts tend to be more condensed, so guys aren't quite as open. Plus, his tight ends that aren't named Arz Boardingham running around there running routes. So that's kind of an option that's not getting cut off. But there was one thing I did notice during the Charlotte game. Just gears a little bit. There were times where immediately when someone in the flat came open, he would just dump it on down and try to just get it out of the way instead of maybe looking downfield a little bit more. Because there were guys running open downfield at times. So he would just kind of just look out and see if someone was in the flat and just dump it there instead of coming off a little bit, looking down, and then coming back to it. That's on the monitor. But again, it's Charlotte. You won. It wasn't the cleanest game. Yeah. But that is something to look at looking forward if he's going to keep looking downfield. Because that has been one thing that a lot of people have kind of been asking about. Where's the downfield passing game?
Yeah.
Again, in conference, you're going to have to do that. Especially on the road, you have to get down the field. And you have to be able to go.
This is something that I believe we discussed in maybe about 3 or 4 podcasts ago, talking about the fall practice that I was able to see. And I did speak on Graham Mertz being a guy that was, he's definitely comfortable throwing his medium passes and his short throws. When guys are open deep, like I saw a few times at the practice where Aiden Mizell, he is a guy that he's almost always open deep, and he throw it to the guy that was in the check down, and that's okay. I mean, it's not a turnover, but you would like to see a little bit more, shots being taken down the field. But due to his history of interceptions, I can understand why he wanted to be on the safer side, take care of the ball. But in big games like the Georgias, the LSUs, you are going to have to hit those throws deep. Even like the Utah game, you're going to have to hit some throws deep. And hopefully we get a little glimpse of that this upcoming Saturday. But I think it's something that we should look into. And I think Billy has to do a better job as well of like route concepts. I mean, they take too long to develop most times, I believe.
They do.
It's just, they take too long to develop.
Yeah, it's like it's like 5-7 step drops. You gotta hold up. This line's not quite good enough to really do that consistently, so you kind of have to help him out a little bit there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this as a former wide receiver. The route concepts they're too close to each other. It's just that simple. Yeah. They're way too close to each other because two receivers being in the same area, that should not happen. That absolutely should not happen. So I agree with you guys. I feel like if these route concepts are a little bit more creative, then you will see a few more downfield shots. And I'm gonna be honest, not having Trey Wilson out there kind of did affect them offensively as well.
It does.
Being out there affects a lot of what they can do.
Yeah, he's the best athlete on the team by far, and he's a weapon that you want to showcase. And without him out there, he's someone that can get in space. He can do whatever he can do. He's the fastest guy on the team. So yeah, that's one element of the offense that's completely gone when he's not out there.
And to add to this question here, I think there might be a lot of option routes too. Because I know when I played even at the high school level, we had option routes depending on what the coverage was. So let's say, for example, if your option route was either like a sit down or a go or an in or out route, you have one of those 4 options depending on what the coverage is. If it's cover 2, then you run the sit down route. If it's cover 3, it's the go route. Like if it's cover 0, go route. Or there are routes where you find a spot, like I said, just sit there, find that open space right there, sit there, get the ball, and get upfield. Or, if you see the corner, he's playing 10 yards off, and he's drifting back as you running your route. You can run an out route or a comeback route. So a lot of these are option routes, and part of me is wondering, are the receivers taking the right option?
It's a lot of this.
Right route.
It's a lot of that going on.
It really is.
Like, that's what's happening.
It's a lot of that, and like when pistol throwing out of it, it's so condensed, and a lot of it's to the short side, so it's even more condensed than it already is as a design. Well, you gotta kind of mix it up a little bit here. Do some 4Y, 5Y if you must. Bring a guy in for protection as a running back, and just go from there.
Hey, Rob, I'm so happy for Frazier's. I mean, I think the guy is a Gator through and through, works hard. We need to – I can't express this enough. Last year, we saw him be a big body wide receiver catching balls in the end zone towards like the latter part of the season.
I would not use him. I also love what Caleb Douglas is providing so far.
Yeah, why not? And then allow Ricky Pearsall to kind of do his thing in the middle of the field in the red zone.
Also, speaking of the middle of the field, Ricky Pearsall shot the jump man catch.
Yeah, that's the catch of the year. I'm sorry. There's nothing else in it. That is by far the catch of the year.
Somebody said it was the greatest catch of all time. How y'all feel about that?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, even as a Cowboys fan, I even hate to do this, but Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch with the Giants against the Cowboys in 2014 is still the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
That was insane because how he was falling back, bro. I was like, what?
It's simply because he caught it with 3 fingers, with 2 fingers and a thumb. He literally caught it with 2 fingers and a thumb.
He had to reach back and he did this.
He had to reach back, and they showed it up those 2 fingers and a thumb.
He reached back in time, bro. That was crazy.
It was a touch. That's it right there. That was a touchdown. Hey, don't get no better than that. That is still the greatest catch I've ever seen. But Ricky Pearsall's catch is definitely top 5.
Yeah, I think that Alabama catch from several years ago from Pro Throw, we call off a guy's back. That was insane.
Why you bring up Tyrone Pro Throw, man? Every time somebody bring him up,
Hey, man. Game is a game, bro. Injuries suck.
happened against Florida. Why was he still in the game? Because y'all were beating the crap out of us. Why was he still playing?
Hey, man, that's a question I've been asking for years.
But yeah, hopefully we should have Aaron come on soon. I sent him the link, so let me see. Send him the link. But yeah, that catch by Ricky Pearsall, by the way, was number 1 on top 10 plays on center.
As it should have been.
Yeah, as it should have been. I mean, I'm still wondering, did he actually catch it? Yeah, look at that.
No way, bro.
That's insane, bro. Like, what are we really talking about? That is wild.
Like, show that again. Show that again, just for the good people.
Look at this. Look where his hands are, bro. This is not a ball that's just going slow in the air. This is a ball thrown with force, right? He jumps up. There are multiple defenders around him. He looks it in with one hand. And most people catch the ball with the hand, the opposite hand. He caught the ball with the hand that was closest to the ball, right? That is insane. That is a hard catch.
And he's about to take a hit, mind y'all. He's got one defender on his side and another one that's in front of him. Let that
baseball glove on, bro.
He's literally in the hole. He's in. He can't really protect himself. Takes a shot and coming down and still traps the ball.
Whoa.
And let's give salute and props to his ups here.
That is. They saying he should be the new Jumpman logo.
Hey, man, it was crazy.
That was an incredible catch.
It was uncanny the Jordan logo.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that. Hey, man, look. Look, man. Hey.
He was on the hotline.
Oh, my gosh.
God.
This is
Like, what is wrong?
Hey, man, it's a good message. Pretty ridiculous.
Yo, hold on. Time out. He practices these.
I believe that.
Yo, I gotta see. I gotta find that video on YouTube. I gotta see that.
Yeah, bro.
Make perfect sense.
Yes.
We did not fumble the bag, Rob. I'll tell you that now.
Look, Rob. Look, man.
Say there is one recruit that we are slowly chipping away at.
I mean, that's been numerous times. We just got to take it one day at a time.
No, but it's serious though. This is not like chipping away at it.
This is AB talking, y'all. This is AB. It's not me saying anything. Just so y'all know.
I have nothing to do with this.
I have nothing to do.
I'm just telling y'all what I heard. But, although the offense didn't look exciting, but this certain recruit feels like he can be that difference maker. And if you look at the offense and look at the red zone issues, it is a perfect sales pitch. We had these red zone issues because we don't have a big play receiver like said recruit to be that guy to make those plays.
I would like to say I feel like we do have that on the roster, but I won't say anything. I'll just be quiet.
I would say that pitch works one of two ways with certain guys. It's either, okay, I can be that difference maker. I can come in right away and come in, get on the field. I can come in and make plays. Or this offense stinks. I can come in here. Like, yeah, it depends on the person.
Well, the first part is true considering the amount of freshmen that are playing. Hey, that's
either way, it's a true statement. Either way you slice it.
Both things can be true.
Yeah, both things are true. That's the other thing with recruiting. if you work, you'll play. We see guys like Kelby Collins, TJ Slucy, Jakeem Jackson. Hell, Jordan Castell is a starter as a true freshman right now. Bryce Thornton is getting in the game. You're seeing Andy Jean. Trey Wilson is probably our best playmaker on offense.
Yeah.
So seeing all of these young guys come in, make an impact. They each have a role, and they look like veterans out there. You can tell like these are different kids. They are coming in.
Yeah.
The chip on their shoulder. They're coming in to work. They know that they can play, and they will have to see the opportunity. Other guys are going to see that. It's a perfect sales pitch when you think about it.
I get that, but like, I will say, like, sometimes I feel like Billy be coaching like you know how you go on NCAA 14 and you have like a guy coming to visit and you got to put up like 200 yards rushing for them to commit, or like you got to put up 500 yards passing for them to be leaning your way or something. Sometimes I feel like he be coaching like he got some type of like mission, bro.
Right? Like, hey man, receivers out here, I said all around the yard.
You do that, then they end up going to like Western Kentucky or Georgia Tech. Like, bro, what are we doing?
Hey, Billy was coaching like he was trying to recruit one of the best kickers from Australia to Gainesville. That's what he was coaching like, bro.
Hey man,
it's 4th to short. I'm kicking it. You getting these points, baby? You gonna win this, Lou Groza.
Everybody getting a punter from Australia. Get a punter from Australia because them dudes can punt.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Yeah, them dudes can punt. Yeah, that was the recruit right there that shocked everybody.
Yeah, that was weird.
Nobody expected him to pop up like that. And not only did he pop up, he was decked out in Gator gear. So
I think he's trolling on Twitter though. Ain't no cap.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there is a little noise there. I mean, he does like the development of the freshman DBs, and he did say he was going to come back for another game and then take an official visit in December. So you never know.
He going to come after. See, if we got to beat Florida State, bro. We got to beat Florida State.
That is the game I think he'll end up coming to.
That probably should be the game, to be honest, if he's going down in December.
Yeah, he is. Like, Jamonte Waller is all over that recruitment there.
Give him his 5th star, please.
Do you think Frazier's gonna do a? No, they're different players. Different players.
Nah, Keon Coleman is different.
That man is the best Florida State wide receiver I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, he really is.
Since who? Like Kelvin Benjamin?
He
has a lot more better work habits than Kelvin Benjamin, and he's not going to get himself out of the league, I don't think.
That's correct.
I mean,
come on.
It's true.
You have to, let's be nice. Let's be nice. I mean, you're not
I'm
wrong.
nice, man. I'm just talking. I'm just telling everybody the truth. The man ate a couple too many Whoppers and Big Macs, and all of a sudden he showed up at training camp and he was putting his hand in the dirt, getting pass sets in.
Let's be nice. Let's be nice. I mean, you're not wrong, but you have to say it.
I mean, we all saw it, so I can say it.
You're not wrong, but come on, nobody put that man down like that, man.
I ain't put him down. I'm just saying. I'm just telling everybody what it is.
The man had an issue. It was a medical issue.
Yeah, too much food.
I would say, okay, this is my take on it. I do believe that there are better prospects, even though he's listed as a 5-star. I will say that, but I wouldn't mind taking him in the class because I do think he can develop into a good player with Corey Raymond coaching him. But I mean, I wouldn't just say hard pass because I mean, the kid wants to get developed by Raymond. I mean, hey, you just never know.
And I also don't think this is a super duper elite corner class.
It's not.
So just take the talent you can get.
I think it's Kobe Black and then who's leaning towards Texas. I'm just waiting on him to actually commit to Texas. I think it's him, and then after that is kind of
depends who he asks.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a so-so class with corner. Now safety, yeah,
Look, I would like to ride a little bit and talk my trash about On 3. Putting Xavier that low is just, I'm sorry, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Jamonte even got a 5th star for whatever reason.
Like, what are we really doing, bro?
I I will say, our guest should be on in about 10, 15 minutes. So,
Okay, cool.
so we should be good. We'll get more on Kentucky. We'll preview that game a little bit more here soon. But like continue with the recruiting talk. Yeah, there's another five. Yeah, that would be Texas A&M commit Cam Coleman. He is talking about taking an official visit to Florida. I know he says he's not in A&M, but he did come out and say Florida and Auburn are recruiting him the hardest right now.
Ew, Auburn would be a horrible mistake.
Well, considering the fact that he's from Phoenix City, Alabama, it's not a surprise.
No, not at all.
Keep them in-state kids home.
Yeah.
Plus, you got Hugh Freeze there. He's known for offense. It's not a bad look. He's going to Auburn right now.
Cheaters
But on
cheat.
top of that, they did flip Perry Thompson from Alabama, from the
Yeah.
Yep.
And by the way, that kid is worth every 5-star he got.
Hey, what is everybody thinking about this talented kid, Nikar?
I'm gonna put it to you like this: if we press for him, we can get him.
But will they press for him?
Will they press?
Question. That's the question. Because it's a deep receiver class. So, and you got some pretty good receivers already committed.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, I mean, and then you got to think about the guys you have on the roster now, and some of the young guys that you got.
Because Burks actually like a redshirt sophomore, right?
Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore.
That's crazy.
Of course, you got the 3 freshmen: Trey Wilson, Aiden Mizell, and Eddie Jean.
Mm-hmm.
You got those 3, and then Caleb Douglas is a sophomore.
So we really only need like 2 guys.
Yeah, when you think about it, because the only one that's leaving really is, as of right now, Ricky Pearsall, because he's a senior. And I do say as of right now because you might have somebody transfer you don't know yet
That's true.
at the position.
I
Because
can see
That's all transfer out. This is a very deep room. This is probably the deepest receiver room we've had in a minute in terms of guys that you look out and say, okay, he could play. He can play. He might take a little time, but I think he's really talented and he can play.
Yeah.
He definitely could play as a senior in this room. And then the guys coming in, it's like, okay, that's more influx of talent. So it's going to be all about numbers to see who is going to be those guys that step up, and hopefully some guys come in. Oh, speaking of this.
Oh, Grimsley, yeah, I heard a lot about that kid.
This right here is one of the ones I think is better than Lester, even though he's rated lower.
That's the name I always bring up, or I always hear bring up when it comes to who's that second guy. So it's like a 2A, 2B thing with him and Lester for me. Sometimes, but I do like his size a little bit more.
Clifford, we know exactly what receiver you're talking about with that frame.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
By the way, should we get into this one?
No, that's actually something that I didn't even think about.
That's something that to really, really look at, and that's something to talk about. So why the hell not?
Well, all right, so AB probably knows more than most of us. So, AB, explain what you've heard, because I've heard some things. And
where do we start?
Yeah, where do we start, bro?
So if you looked at the depth chart last week when it came out, he wasn't even on the depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a major red flag already.
Yep.
And so you're wondering, like, did he get passed up? That might have been what it is. Is he hurt? He wasn't even hurt. And then you hear after the game, he didn't even make the travel roster.
He couldn't even travel down the street.
Now a lot of people heard that and was like, wait a minute. It's a home game. What do you mean travel roster? People, you think these kids stay on campus for home games? No, they don't. They go to the team hotel. He wasn't even able to go to the team hotel, so he was responsible for getting himself to the game. Now, this is where it gets dicey. And this is where, like, I'm not really going to speculate on it or say it's true or anything. But if what I heard, and I'm not even going to say what it was, but if what I heard is true about why he didn't get out on the field until about the second quarter before he was removed from the field, if that's true,
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
And on top of that, Purdy asked the red shirt. Now, if a guy that's just a sophomore is asking a red shirt, what do y'all think that means?
You trying to get up out of there?
Yep. Let me let you in on a little secret. He tried to transfer over the summer. Nobody would take him.
Wait a minute.
Hold
Pause.
up.
Pause. What? But for why?
Reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
I will say this. When you come to the University of Florida, it does not matter what your star is. I mean, yeah, we love having 5 stars, but we've had some absolute trash 5 stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. When you come to the University of Florida, you need to be ready to compete, not only on the field, but academically in the classroom, in your community. You need to have your head on a swivel, and you also need to be working hard. I mean, if you're a 5-star, you need to be working the hardest out of anybody in the locker room. You need to be a vocal leader. And if what I heard is true, I feel like you have to have a self-talk and a look in the mirror if you're Kamari Wilson. And be better. Be better and be more disciplined and be humble. Be humble.
Which he does seem like a humble kid. I mean, he's not a bad kid at all. At all.
Right.
Like,
No, it's that.
Really, really good kid.
Yeah.
And you just hope and pray for the best for him. And I mean, we all had high expectations for him. We thought he'd be a good player. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. This is a guy trying to play safety, and he's honestly a linebacker.
He's not a bro.
He doesn't have the speed or twitch needed to play like that spot.
Marcus, you just said it. That's the point. Can't play safety if you run like a 4.8.
He could have been like what's the guy that I was at Alabama that everybody thought was like this freak athlete. Well, him as well, but I was about to say Dylan Moses. He could morph himself into be like a Dylan Moses type guy.
Well, in Dylan Moses' case, he also blew his knee out, so that wasn't really that had something to do with it.
Over.
Hammer the over.
Over.
He's not that good. He should be playing the burn. Yeah, linebacker, but he's refusing to do so. And you got another comment. They're pushing him to change positions, but he still wants to play safety. Outgrew the position. Clifford, that last part, I'm about 90% sure it's happening.
And you cannot, bro. You cannot have pride. Like, I understand that you play this position. I understand this is what you love. But sometimes you got to trust that the coaching staff knows what's best for you, right? You really cannot be like a distraction for your teammates by not wanting to, kind of do what the coach wants you to do in that particular situation. Look at Trey Dean, right? Everybody had gripes with Trey Dean. Trey Dean, salute to that man for changing that many positions. He stuck side by side with one of the worst defense coordinators I've ever seen in my life, right? Probably 2, with all respect to the one we had last year, but he wasn't that great. He moved any and everywhere throughout his tenure to try to,
he started as a corner for crying out loud.
I mean, seriously.
Hell, look at not even him. Look at Jaden Hill right now. Like, he got jerked around a little bit. Now he's finally settled in at star, and that's the perfect spot for him. And he's driving.
Got drafted, changing positions. That's all I'm gonna say. Especially if you got a defensive coordinator like Austin Armstrong, who is actually proving statistically that he knows what he's doing.
Right.
Corey Raymond, he knows what he's doing.
And he got the whole room. Yes. Yeah. Talk. Where you at? Step to the stage.
Hey, Rob. I wasn't trashing him. I was just speaking the truth. Now, is it my fault that he got all in his feelings and decided to text somebody?
Hey, he wanted to meet you at Gale and Run, boy. He wanted.
Right?
And guess what? Like I said, I put it on blast, and my pastor went to school with your mom.
That boy wanted to meet you in Temecula. That's crazy.
So you do not want the smoke. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shady wanted to line up and say Oklahoma drill me right now.
And I would have got time. But all the years I did Oklahoma Drill, I'm tell you right now, you know how often I score touchdowns? Very often.
Hey, that man was running folks
Okay.
over, bro.
Through, around, and over.
Okay.
And while doing the sign with the ball.
Sure.
Yeah. It's a tough situation, Clifford, and I feel for the kid because I feel like he is very talented, but he might have to go somewhere where he'll fit in more to what they're trying to do, for sure. I want to ask y'all a question about this, instance. How do y'all feel he would have translated if he would have went to Georgia?
He'd be getting ready to transfer from there too.
He probably had the same issues in that he just kind of outgrew the position they recruited him for. Because Kamari's a big dude. Like he is
big.
A big frame. He probably put some weight on in college, and
He's 228 pounds apparently.
He didn't have to. He's damn.
Yeah.
He's what?
Apparently he's 228 pounds.
Okay, so say you want to have like a Landon Collins. He could be like a Landon Collins, right?
Landon Collins had better instincts and he was twitchy enough to play in the box.
Fast. He was a unicorn.
Yeah. So like that wasn't gonna work. If you just don't have the speed to play his position anymore, it is what it is. Charge to the game.
Yeah, and we've seen what slow safeties do at University of Florida. It doesn't go well.
We had two of them last year.
Yeah, you just got through talking about one.
The other one, I thought he was faster than what he tested. That was terrible, bro. But yeah, man, that situation is sticky. I'm wishing him the best. I really like one of our first our season 1 of this podcast. He committed to us, him and Shamar James, and we were elated, just so excited. So, yeah, man, I really wish the best for Kamar.
Shamar James, I think he committed to us. I think we had just did like a pop-up show.
We did.
And like, I don't know if it was during the show or right afterwards. He ended up committing to us.
Yeah, I think it was during, bro. Or was it? I know it was at the gas station. I'll never forget where I was.
We was out there at the gas station. We did like a little pop-up. We were sitting the whole thing. It was a fun little time.
That was vibes, bro. We were telling them lies.
Yeah, even though 2 people on here did not believe me when I was telling you, Florida leads, not Alabama.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even though it was a 5-star from Mobile, because them dudes usually don't leave Alabama. They really don't. So the fact that we, even though he decommitted and almost went to Georgia,
yeah,
even though he's not with us anymore and he needs to be gone, thankful for Patrick Toney for landing us Shamar James, staying up to 2 o'clock in the morning playing Call of Duty with him and getting that done. And 5 hours later, he signs with us.
The fact we got 2 ballers from Belmar in that linebacker core right now, man, it warms my heart with joy. Them boys,
hey, bro, like look, man,
Bama boys can play. I'm telling you.
Look at here, and I want to give a big shout out because we didn't do Swamp of the Week in a while. I just want to say Scooby Williams is my Swamp of the Week for the last 3 weeks or 2, probably 3 weeks. That man is one of the most instinctive, physical, intense linebackers I've seen us have.
He's so night and day from what he was when we had to throw him out there against USF and he had to call defense and he just looked lost. But you saw the ability. Now he looks so much more sure of himself and he's just playing a lot more free and he's running sideline to sideline, making all the tackles he can. So I'm real happy to see it. And hey, man, I got an idea to run by y'all about this merch about Scooby, man. So stay tuned.
Hey, man.
Wait, wasn't a 5-star here?
Mm-hmm.
Make me happy, make me smile.
But yeah, still waiting on our guest. He's just driving home from a radio station and he's gotta let his dog out, but should be on soon. We'll kind of get more into this preview with the Kentucky game, but overall, looking back at the Charlotte game real quick, one thing that I will say that I was impressed with, and I've been impressed with since the Utah game,
Mm-hmm.
Princely Umanmielen has been playing a lot better since that Utah game.
He has. He's been doing his job.
Yeah, he's been playing well, and we're starting to. I feel like he's kind of just starting to get into his groove, being that guy that we expected him to be. He's just starting to do that.
Lord knows we need him.
Hey! I ain't say that. I ain't say that. I did not say that.
Whoever said that needs to be executed, bro. What the hell?
Marcus said that, not me.
Oh, don't you even try me like that. Don't you
Marcus
ever.
I did not say this. I
Don't
did
you
not
ever,
say
you lying bastard. I ain't say nothing like that.
I know I didn't. I don't know why. Now, why am I in it? I ain't get thrown. I didn't do this.
I mean, some lies you have told AB have been pretty uncanny.
Bro, your lies be
I did
crazy.
not tell this lie.
Your lies are
You
crazy.
still were going to win like 10 games last year, or possibly win 9.
And we could have if things would have went our way. We
Well,
had
we
some
didn't.
bad games.
Well, they didn't, and we didn't win 6 games. We won 10 games. So there's that.
This I did not say this right here though. I did not say this.
That's an insane thing to say. Nick Bosa was born to do 2 things. He was born to build the wall, and he was born to rush the passer, bro.
Oh my
I don't
god.
think he could with that.
Oh, this man is gonna get us canceled, man.
Am I wrong?
That's the concern right there, Trey. And I feel like, man, even since the Utah game, we had an issue with getting the ball in the end zone and the red zone. And so when we do lose games, I think that's going to be our downfall. Sadly. If we lose the games.
Yeah, and that's another one. Desmond Watson, yeah. Clearly he's a grown man amongst boys, but he been playing like it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is going to be a Des Watson game, in my opinion. I think he's going to have a good game against Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. Well, I think he'll have a good game because he won't have to play like 48 snaps.
Yeah, he's not going to play 48 snaps.
Let Caleb Banks and Cam Jackson take care of most of the bulk of the work. Rotate in when you can. Do your thing. Be an individual object.
And about this, I will say this. Jalen Hurts goes deep. It's picked off again.
I hate fantasy football. I'm done.
Well,
the Eagles still up 20-3. But yeah, I agree with this. The kicking game is solved, but special teams is far from being solved. I will say it's a few more things we have to clean up special teams wise, but I am seeing a little improvement every week.
Yeah.
Areas.
Now, all we need to do is put the right amount of people on the field, and then we'll be fine. But baby steps, apparently.
Hey, Billy got mad about that, though. Billy was heated, wasn't he?
I hope he got mad about it. Shoot. Can't keep doing this every damn week. You're going to get burnt doing that one day.
Oh, man, Clifford, bro. That's, man. Hold on.
Okay, so I'll probably say 6-1 but it depends on what it looks like this weekend. It depends on South Carolina. Because those are the 2 games where you can probably slip up, but I don't think this team does.
Ugh, Jesus.
Wait, Marcus, you said what record again?
Maybe it was 6-1, 7-1, right?
It'd be 6-1.
I got it right. So
I
it's 6-1, but it fully depends on this weekend and depends on South Carolina.
It depends on what time you play. It depends on what time you play South Carolina.
That's a night game, you know it.
Because we know we're playing at noon this weekend against Kentucky.
4 against Van.
4 o'clock game.
It's really 3 over there, but you know. Oh, 3 over there, 4 here.
No, 4. Well, it's 4.
Yeah, it's 4 because it's in Swamp. Yeah.
I will say 6-1, Clifford, 6-1. But if we don't clean up the red zone issues, 5-2.
I will say this right now. Off topic. Yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home against NFC East teams doesn't go well at all.
And they're always on Monday night games too when they do it.
Safety.
Ew.
And on top of that, this is the most obvious play that we know you're gonna run the ball. Like they know you're gonna run the ball. What are you doing? Play action pass Oh, and by the way, speaking of that, Dan Orlovsky is now off the hook. He is off the hook for running out the back of the end zone.
And meanwhile, Stafford just threw a pick in the other game.
Damn.
That game's kind of it's 6-3. It's kind of ugly, but you know.
Defense stays healthy. I do agree with this. This defense will win us. Like if we're in a close game and we have a lead, I trust this defense to get a stop. I do. Like this, especially with the young guys out there, because like we mentioned, these young guys are growing up before our very eyes. They are growing up and continuing to get better. I trust this defense to get a stop if we need to get one late in the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And then you know what's beautiful? We blitz at the right times. Finally.
And it's not double corner blitzes from 10 yards off.
Finally.
Why do you keep bringing that up, Marcus? Why?
It's the most egregious thing, bro. You know what it is? It's just hard to not remember.
See, Rob, we were talking about this as well, man. Throwing the ball vertical. There are like maybe like once or twice in the game, there will be somebody open down the field, right? Not often though. I just don't think that we have the right route concepts. Again, And then if there is somebody open, as we've seen, it's too late. Like I thought it was a play against Tennessee or I think it was Tennessee where Caleb Douglas came open deep, but he didn't have enough time to throw it because it was such a slow developing play. So yeah. And the only reason we got some of those deep passes down the field last year is because AR was extremely mobile in the pocket, and he had an arm that was just, insane. So it's going to be a little bit tougher this year, man, to get those vertical passes for sure.
Defense is better than we all expected. Huge jump.
Yeah.
Long way to go. Long way was up.
The difference is way past night and day. This is, hey man, give Austin Armstrong whatever he wants to stay for at least another year.
And we don't even have Boone out there.
That's the other part. We're injured to hell.
We're injured, bro. And also, I want to say to people that are criticizing Princely. Princely's not the flashiest of pass rushers, right? But he does his job. Okay, we had a guy that wore number 1, flashy pass rusher. He'd get you some sacks, but he'd also give up the kitchen sink because there was no edge control. Princely is setting the edge pretty darn good this year. All right. So no Princely slander as of late.
No, he's doing his job. He may not be like the most dynamic pass rusher of all time, but he's doing his job. I'll take it.
Yep.
We are gonna need some pass rush in these later games. We're gonna need it.
I'm gonna get controversial, people.
Uh-oh.
For everybody that wanted the head coach fired after the loss to Utah, where y'all at?
Oh, brother.
Where did that come from?
We heard from you in a while, boy. Where you been?
AB.
Hey, what are we doing?
AB. Come on. This is
I'm just
33%
saying,
of the season.
no, because I'm just saying you have the outrageous thing.
Did he catch that?
Knock on wood. Just relax. Just relax. We're game by game.
We're three
because your
three
opinion
games
could
into the season. Breathe.
your opinion could change anything.
Too, by the way, I thought he caught that too. But
What do y'all?
You always have the outrageous takes after 1 week, and I'm like, let's let the season play out, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I will say, offensively, we could be better in certain areas, especially the red zone. We've been decent to good for the most part. It's just this last game, it just was not good at all. I would say it just wasn't good. But other than that, really, then Utah game, the only 2 games they weren't really that good. But it's about execution as well. I mean, route concepts, like I said, like we've said, got to be better. Guys got to find a way to get open. And we have our guest on. But we'll stay with this for a while. But we'll get into all this. But We got another guest joining us. He joined us last year to preview the Kentucky game. We have
Oh, Aaron.
Guys, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. Sorry, I took a little long there, but I'm doing well. I can't complain.
It's all good, brother.
All good, man. Right on time, brother.
Yeah, there we go.
Good to see you, Aaron, even though we're here to discuss Florida, Kentucky, but I would first like to say go Cowboys. Sorry.
Yeah, y'all kicked our ass.
Sorry, y'all. But hey, y'all beat the team that we just lost to. I mean,
Yeah, I was debating with myself, really, just myself. Is it better for the Giants that, like, all right, Arizona showed they're a little bit competent if they could beat a team like Dallas, or is it bad because the Giants got, obviously embarrassed by Dallas? But I think a lot of
terrible though. They're not.
Yeah, they're terrible. No, they're playing hard. Like a lot of those teams just roll over and quit. Like Arizona's, they got a lot of pride on that team.
Yeah. I just didn't like the fact that we didn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith is right there. I mean, you can put him out there when you see your left tackle that's replacing for the game giving up sacks. Hey, come on now. I mean, that kind of.
Man, we were probably due for a Dak turnover to laugh at when we finally got one. But in his defense, if he throws a high, it's probably a touchdown.
And on top of that,
It's true.
what are we blaming him for? The game was 28-16. I see it was 21 drive to score. That's a different story. Then you can blame. 28-16. What are we doing here? Are we going to blame the defense for the busted coverage that allowed them to get to 28?
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah. Hey, there are a lot of wacky games in the NFL this weekend. So, Baltimore losing to Indy, Jacksonville. I mean, it was just. Yeah, I mean, I remembered from last year you were a Jags fan, so I didn't want to bring that one up. But
Hey, Mark is sick, man. That man is sick.
I was so freaking sick. Bro. We see him a 90-yard kick return to a fullback.
Yeah, man. Man.
Hey, it could be worse. You could get 70 balled by 50, like the Broncos did.
Yeah.
Or you could beat Chicago Bears.
Like treating a professional football team like they're an FCS opponent, like that's wild. You pay that professional pride and give 70 bleeping points. Like, how is that even possible?
Sean Payton must feel like an idiot for leaving that TV gig, making a ton of money, and then obviously he makes the comments on record about the coaching staff, and I guess Russell Wilson statistically has looked a little better this year, so maybe that has some to do with it, but. My gosh, 70 freaking points. First, 1949, 1950, the last time that happened? And
he wasn't wrong, but I mean, now you look crazy for saying it.
Right. He was not wrong. You just look at
He wasn't, but then again, he got rid of the one good coach on the staff, the defensive coordinator.
Yes.
Exactly. It just got worse.
And I was just having this conversation tonight. Like Vance Joseph, if you look at he's a terrible defensive coordinator. Like everywhere he's gone, he has stunk, and he stunk as the head coach in Denver. And you're right, they had the guy that left for Carolina.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But we got the Florida Kentucky preview. Unfortunately, Kentucky did beat us last year in Gainesville.
And the year before,
3 out of 5. Yep, after 31 years of losing for Kentucky.
We got to restore order again. I mean, but going into this game, like just talking about Kentucky, what have you seen from them so far this year? I mean, we know they're 4-0. Devin Leary's the new starting quarterback. You got a new starting running back in Ray Davis, who had a great game last week against his former team at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, he's been great.
So what have you seen so far from them this year?
So I would say the first thing. Liam Cohen coming back has been massive. Like they are a much more explosive offense. The average depth per target, average yards per play, they're a much more explosive offense. And last year, the offensive line, and even against Florida, it was just horrendous. I mean, they could not. It was between playing guys out of position because of injury, young starters. It was a mess. And this year, the offensive line's a little better, but also Devin Leary, what he does better than Will Levis is he'll get that ball out and he will make plays on his feet, not like explosive runs, but he will extend plays with his legs and not take sacks. Like Kentucky's only given up 4 sacks so far this season. They gave up 47 last year. And a lot of that is Devin Leary's doing. So that's the big thing. I think offensively, a lot more explosive, not perfect. They're still, they've turned the ball over 5 times, I believe, all in interceptions, which some have been on Leary, some miscommunication. So they're not perfect offensively. But the big thing is from a schematic standpoint and from a protection standpoint, they are much better than a year ago. And then defensively, it's more the same. I mean, Kentucky's had a great defense for several years now. And this year, the 2 corners, Andrew Phillips and Maxwell Hairston, are playing lights out. Obviously, Hairston had the 2 interception return touchdown game this past weekend, which is, I don't know. I can't, I'm trying to think of when I've seen that in a game before. Even in the NFL, like that's rare. So that's probably not going to happen this weekend. But Harrison's been playing. I think he's the highest graded corner in the SEC, and Phillips is second. So those guys are playing at a really high level on the back end. And then the defensive front with big Deion Walker, 6'6", looks a lot like some of the dudes that Florida has up front, and he's wrecking havoc. It doesn't show up in the stats sheet, of course, because he's a D tackle, but he's doing a lot of good things. Trevin Wallace, the inside linebacker, has 4 sacks from that position. He's explosive. So, overall, there's kind of been spurts in each game, including this Vanderbilt game, where they've kind of just gone off the rails for like 10 to 20 minutes. And outside of those 10 to 20 minutes a game, man, they're 4-0 for a reason. I mean, the scoreboard against Eastern Kentucky obviously was one that wasn't pretty, trailing in that game until late in the second quarter. But really outside of that, like, they've been winning and covering, and they've done a lot of good things, more good than bad, even though obviously they haven't been battle tested like Florida or some other teams across the country or SEC.
I'm still trying to figure out how you guys got Deion Walker out of the state of Michigan.
Oh my gosh.
He was going to Michigan.
He's a dude.
The sign, seal, delivered. And he picked Kentucky. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Hey, man, that's what you do, man.
What the hell is Mark Stoops saying to the kid, man? Because that boy is good.
Well, yeah, they do well in Michigan. They have a long track record now of getting guys. And Maxwell Hairston, the corner I just talked about, he's a Detroit kid too. Justin Rogers, who obviously transferred to Auburn this past offseason. At the time, I want to say the 3rd highest signing in Kentucky history. He's a Detroit guy. So, yeah, they've done well in Detroit. That's been an area. Vince Marrow, Ohio. Yeah, Ohio's their bread.
Well, they get the second tier players in Ohio. You beat Ohio State.
No.
Get some kids out of Cincinnati. Get some kids out of those lower suburbs from the area.
Yeah. And I think what's helping too.
Well, if you're gonna recruit Ohio real quick, stay away from Glenville. You will not make it from Glenville,
brother.
Yeah. And one thing that's helping too is it's not on the level of Ohio, Michigan, Florida, obviously, but Kentucky high school football has taken steps forward the last couple of years, and they've cleaned up in state. Like Dane Key's from Lexington, they got a couple of other guys from Kentucky on this roster, and then the incoming class that they I believe have all top. I think 8 of the top 10 guys from in-state committed, including Cutter Boley, a 4-star quarterback. So they've done a really good job of dominating in-state, keeping those guys away from Louisville and other programs trying to come in and take some talent from the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got Louisville right there, so that's great for Kentucky. I mean, because Louisville, we know how successful Louisville has a tendency to steal.
Yeah, and it's going to get harder with Jeff Brom. He's a really good coach, and but for this year and I wouldn't count 23 because Brom came in late, but they've done a good job in year 1 head-to-head against Brom of cleaning up in-state.
Right. Now, for me personally, the guy I want to ask you about is Ray Davis because he transferred in from Vanderbilt. He was a really good running back there when he was there. Yeah. And he's only, in my opinion, he's only gotten better since he's gotten to Kentucky. So, like, how big of an impact has he made coming to this team with what he's doing so far?
Yeah, he's been big. I mean, I think the first thing is he's a really good pass catching back, which is, sometimes hard to find. And he's a guy like maybe the 2 best plays he's made this year, and he's had some good runs. But I think the 2 best plays he's made this year, one was a wheel route against Eastern Kentucky that he scored a touchdown on, just 25 yards down the field, and Leary hit him. And then I don't know if you saw the highlight of it, against Akron, Devin Leary is escaping a sack. He's got 2 guys on his back. He somehow is able to get it out to Davis, and Davis cuts the ball upfield, and it ends up being a 58-yard touchdown on a broken play. So he's really he's a special player when it comes to seeing things in space. The couple of things I think Kentucky needs to improve on in the run game are the early downs. They just haven't been efficient, and that's getting them behind the chains a little bit. And when Mark Stoops was asked about that, he kind of talked about just not being a little too greedy at times and just not waiting for things to happen. So it hasn't been perfect for Ray Davis, but he's definitely been. It's hard to replace Chris Rodriguez.
Oh yeah,
what he's been doing the last couple of years, and I think Davis has done a really good job. And they have some other guys in that running back room who could really play. They just haven't gotten an opportunity quite yet because Davis has played so well.
Yeah, I remember you guys last year had Kovacic. Well, first of all, I didn't even realize he was at Colorado.
I know. Yeah, he's not playing much.
Damn, what a
yeah,
catch.
but yeah, they this year Jatan McClain is back. He hasn't been great as a runner until this last week at Vandy. He had his best game as a runner yet. He had that long touchdown run, and then the guy that I really want to see play more is Deme Sumo Karanjabe. He's a transfer also from NC State. He averaged over 5 yards per carry last year, and they got him in finally against Akron. And he had a 42-yard run on his first touch. He ends up scoring on that drive. He's another guy who could catch the ball to the backfield. So I'm interested to see if that's kind of like a guy that they're trying not to get too much tape on, as they get into this Florida game and then the meat of their schedule the rest of the way. But he's a guy that he could be a real game changer in the backfield too. I'm really curious. I really want to get to see him play because he's a guy the coaching staff's really high on.
Now, somebody I really want to ask about for Kentucky, who we've always had my eye on for the last couple of years, JJ Weaver.
Yeah,
he's probably the emotional leader of that defense, and he's been the guy who's made plays every time he's on the field. So, what's been his thing so far this season? How has he been?
Yeah, he's a guy. I'm glad you asked about him. He's a guy that. Honestly, I think the coaching staff is expected a little more from. He came into the year, and the talking point with him, we saw him at SEC Media Day, and you look at him, you're like, oh man, he bulked up. He added about 20 pounds. There was a lot of talk. Obviously, you're not going to be Josh Allen. No one's going to be Josh Allen. Obviously, it's right. The Jags now. It's 17 sacks his senior year. But there was a lot of talks at how he kind of took Josh Allen's approach going into his senior year with adding that muscle and adding that good weight and hoping that would kind of reflect in his game. And, he had the sack week 1 against Ball State, but he's kind of been a little quiet since. I thought he had a better game this past weekend against Vanderbilt. He had a pressure to one of them, helped lead to one of those pick sixes by Hairston. He was in there with Trevin Wallace on the pressure. So, the numbers don't reflect totally how he's played, but he's the guy who's led this team in sacks the last 3 years. He was only got 1 through 4 weeks. And part of that though is a guy we were just talking about with Deion Walker. Him and JJ line up on the same side, and they're doubling the hell out of Deion Walker. So sometimes there's just a lot of action on that side of the offensive line, and that's cleaning up, for Trevin Wallace to make some plays in the backfield. For Khalil Saunders had a sack and a half week 1. So they've got the other thing that they're doing this year, because they have a lot of depth across the defensive line, probably the most depth they have on the entire roster, is they're rotating in guys in and out, a lot of different bodies, and keeping guys fresh. So that too is kind of playing into JJ's production. So we'll see. This is a game that he's originally from Florida. He got hurt against Florida in 2020. It's a game he always circles. So I expect an inspired effort, at least from him on Saturday.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it at all, man. That guy's he's a vocal leader,
Yes.
He gets in the guys' heads for sure.
He does.
AR's head last year a little bit. It's all good, but
all good stuff. He's
yeah.
I love the kid, man. I always love guys like that on defense.
Yeah. I want to ask you about, and this guy's he stood out to me since I've seen him play, Barion Brown. I mean,
yeah. So,
what is your take on him, man? And what do you think he adds to the offense, and how has the chemistry been between him and Leary?
Yeah, he's explosive. I mean, his speed is you can't teach speed, as they always say. So he's been able to get behind. This past game, they really got him going in the passing game, where he was, he had the kick return touchdown. Which, if they kick him the ball, it's stupid. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw what he did against Ole Miss, where if the turf doesn't trip him up, he has 2 or 3 kick return touchdowns in that game. He has 2 kick returns already in his short career. So he's great in the return return game, so he had the touchdown week 1. But in the passing game, he was a little quiet to start the year, just building that chemistry in a game with Devin Leary for the first time. I think, 39 yards week 1, 51 and a touchdown week 2, and then only 2 for 19 in week 3. But last week, was the week they finally got him going. 4 catches, 105, and got him for a 55-yard deep ball and a 37-yard deep ball. So, he's a guy who can stretch the defense for sure. He's a guy they're going to want to get to in one-on-one opportunities because he's going to win more times or not. The things with Berryon for him that he needs to do to take the next step are, one, just focus a little more and catch that ball. He's had a couple drops that is a reason why those catch numbers are a little low. There were some missed opportunities, including one he had against Vanderbilt this past week where, he just he hauls it in. It's a big play, but he's got to finish them. And 2, I think with him and Dane Key to an extent, though Dane Key had a really good performance and a really good moment after the game, kind of addressing a mistake he made. It's just this. Mark Stoops even brought it up how he said he's not like a believer in the sophomore slump stuff, but to an extent, when you have such a good freshman year and you're talked about so highly, you can read into that type of thing. And that was kind of what Kentucky believes kind of played into their down year last year was they were picked to finish second in the East. They got away from kind of that underdog mentality, and that kind of led to some of the issues later in the year. So kind of the same thing with Brown and Key, where maybe they read into things a little much and have gotten off to a little bit of a slow start. But I think Brown and Key took steps in the right direction this past week. And, those are two dudes when they're playing at their highest capability, that's one of the better wide receiver tandems in the SEC. And I think Brown's the top guy of the two.
Speaking of those kickoff returns you should have had for touchdowns, hopefully we have 11 guys on the field. We haven't had the last couple.
Yeah, it's funny you said that because I was wondering. I know the first game Florida had the one where they had 2 guys with the same jersey number on the field. So this year, Juton McClain, who I was talking about, that running back, every game it's a running joke in the press box because they have to make the announcement. It's 4 is now wearing 41. 4 is now wearing 41. So I'm wondering if, I was like, did they pick that up from Florida and make sure, hey, we are never going to do that because they played the Thursday night game. So, I know the 10 men on the field's been a little bit of an issue, but,
But I'll go a step further, Marcus. Even if we don't have 11 guys on the field, Trey
don't
Smith
kick him the ball.
Kick the ball through the end zone.
Yep.
No lies.
Kick it through. Give the fans a souvenir.
Yes. No.
The fans can't keep the ball. I mean, I wish they could, because if I ever go to the game and I catch a ball, I'm sorry, they just not getting it back. I'm sorry. You're not getting it back.
No, you just can't kick Barry on the ball because when he gets it, he's got a chance to take it home every time.
Yeah, he's a special playmaker, man. I respect that kid.
Yeah, no, they really got to get him going a little more because he can really make a difference, and I think he knows that. I think the coaching staff's definitely they've been tough on those guys in the right way to try to really get them going a little bit, and it's a little hard. Again, I talked about the stuff with the sophomore, new quarterback who remember he got hurt midway through last year, so he had when he got back on the field week 1. It was his first live action in 11 months. So he's a guy who's needed a little time to get going, but I think his last 2 games have been a lot better. I mean, the turnovers are still a little bit of an issue. And again, there's a lot of factors for those. But they're getting on the same. Last week was a good sign to get some chemistry. I know it was Vanderbilt, but it was a good sign against. Yeah. So I will say with Vanderbilt, the one thing that Vanderbilt has, they got playmakers on the perimeter, and Kentucky shut them down. Which Will Shepard's one of the best receivers in the conference now, and he only had 2 catches in this game. London Humphreys, I think it was only 9 catches, but 236 yards. Just him and Berryon Brown were always competing for apparently in high school track meets and stuff. As two of the fastest guys in the state of Tennessee. So and then Jaden McGowan too. So that was the one thing. Vanderbilt, you watch them this year compared to, and I know Kentucky lost to them. They're a better team than they were a year ago from a talent perspective, but they are still the Vanderbilt Commodores at the end of the day.
It's one of those situations where they're better than they were last year, but schedule is tough.
The schedule is tough, and maybe, and they talked about at SEC Media Days their goal was a bowl game, which makes sense. They won 5 last year. Maybe that's even got their head a little bit. I know AJ Swan's really he's talented, man, but he's getting beat up. That offensive line is a mess.
They're
down
not
there.
helping them one bit out there.
No, and he got knocked out of the game late on Saturday, so I feel bad for him because he's a talented quarterback, but
So
they've got to let him down.
So basically, what you're saying is he using the scholarship money to get killed.
Unfortunately, that's how it's going so far. I mean, again, like when he gets it, those playmakers are. I'm telling you, like when you guys play Vandy later in the year, like be aware those playmakers are legit at wideouts next week. Okay, yeah, those wideouts are legit. Like don't sleep on them, but you just got to put pressure on him because he doesn't handle pressure well, and he's getting killed, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now from the Florida perspective, what have you like in your estimation of watching Florida?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've seen that as a Kentucky fan would concern the Kentucky fans?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is how Florida's done against the run game. I mean, they've completely dominated in the run game, and I think Kentucky, while they're definitely more balanced this year and in years past, and they're explosive, you want to, as I was talking about, early down efficiency has been a problem, and you don't want to put Florida in a spot where they can pin their ears back and on third down. And Florida's really good at getting teams. That's what they did against Tennessee, got them into some third and longs, and so I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's more so on the defensive side of the ball, because Kentucky defensively, I think they can hang with about anybody and at least make a game of it. But with their offense, there's still some issues. Really, it's kind of the way I describe Kentucky's offense so far is it's been all or nothing. You've had some drives where they'll march down the field and make it look easy. You'll have some drives where you're like, what the hell are they doing? That was the quickest 3 and out I've ever seen in my life. So like yeah,
I can understand.
So basically, Kentucky, that's the biggest thing. They can't get into third and long against this defense. I think they've been able to get out of some third and longs, but that's kind of comes to the competition. Like, for example, they had a holding penalty that set up 3rd and goal from the 22. And Devin Leary fired a dart, and they got bailed out because Devin Leary put a beautiful pass on Tavion Robinson for a touchdown on 3rd and goal from the 22. Crazy. They're not going to be able to do that against Florida. They're not going to be able to do that against Georgia. Any of the 8 teams they have left in their schedule, they're not going to be able to do that. Even last week against Vanderbilt, they had this drive in the either the late 3rd quarter or early 4th. It was an 88-yard touchdown drive. It was actually like 100-something yards because they had 3 penalties. They had an illegal man downfield and 2 holdings, and they still scored a touchdown on the drive. Like that, they're not going to be able to get away with that against Florida. So for Kentucky, it's all about early down efficiency and penalties. Like they've been called for a lot of holdings. They had a 64-yard touchdown taken off the board against Akron for a holding. So those are the biggest things, I think, for Kentucky. They have to avoid 1st and long, and they have to find a way to run the ball on a front that has not been run on yet so far.
It's funny, Aaron, because hearing you talk about like what Kentucky has to do to win is kind of like what Florida has to do.
Similar, right?
It's like
yeah, because and Kentucky's a great run unit as well. Obviously, I think I don't know. Is Florida number 1? They're up in the top. What are they now in run defense? I know Kentucky's 10.
Defense number 1 in the SEC and number 5 overall.
Okay, so that's what I thought it was about. So yeah, Kentucky's number 9 against run defense, number 9 run defense in the country right now. They're averaging 77 yards per game on the ground. So yeah, I mean that it is strength for strength when it comes to Florida's offense and Kentucky's defense, and that's why the biggest concerns I have with Florida, just looking at them from an inside out, and why I think Kentucky's defense is a good matchup is Florida's really struggled on 3rd down, and Kentucky. They struggled mightily on 3rd downs the first 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, they've been getting off the field on 3rd down, and they haven't just been getting off the field. They've been getting some of those turnovers on 3rd down. They're bringing the heat, and their pass rush is a lot better than last year. So that, from Kentucky's perspective, I think if they can stop the run on defense, they're going to be fine because their secondary show no reason why they can't stop. And I think Graham Mertz, Kentucky had Graham Mertz signed, by the way, and then Liam Cohen stepped in and wanted Devin Leary. That happened. But I think Graham Mertz has been extremely efficient, but I think this is a defense where they're going to make them earn it. I don't think the checkdowns are going to be there as much. Kentucky's done a really good job at cleaning those up, even against Vanderbilt. McGowan is a guy who had been, if you'd watched Vanderbilt the first couple of weeks, Jaden McGowan's a guy who they've been feasting on just getting the ball to in the quick game and letting him do things after the catch. Kentucky does a really good job at shutting that down. And Graham Mertz has kind of done he's been extremely efficient with those checkdowns and with those quick game passes. And Kentucky really, really feasts off those. So unless Graham Mertz is going to beat them deep down the field, you feel pretty good if you're Kentucky's defense. So I really think, guys, I think we're in for kind of like, I don't know about the outcome, but like score-wise, we're in for like the game we saw in Lexington 2 years ago, like 20-13. It's going to be a slog. I don't think either offense is going to be exploding on Saturday.
With Florida's offense, they have the capabilities.
Sure. And they got to give ETN the rock, man. That guy is so damn good.
I was screaming in my house watching the Charlotte game. They didn't give him as many carries as I would have liked.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're trying to keep him fresh because it is Charlotte.
I will say this. In Florida's defense, that game, it's not an excuse because we should put more points on the board.
Sure.
That second half was, let's just get the hell out of here without any injuries.
Yeah, they didn't want exactly.
That's what that was. Yeah. So I get it, but at the same time, that's a team just blew out because they were able to move the ball, but they couldn't finish drive.
Yeah, what was it? 4 red zone field goals and 1 for 9 on third down. Is that what it was?
Disgusting.
Goal kicker finally.
I was gonna say at least he got that
straight. But look at that strength on strength right there.
Yeah,
but
2 really good run defenses.
Yep.
We got the kicker. Didn't want to see him as much unless. But
that's something Kentucky figured out too. By the way, last year I think maybe in Florida did they have a bad snap on an extra point? I don't know. They had a lot of bad snaps. They did figure out special teams. They brought in a special teams coordinator who had been with Bob Stoops at Oklahoma and was at Auburn with Gene Chizik the year they won the Natty in 2010. So at least they can snap the ball and kick it. They got a transfer from Georgia Southern who I think he's 4 for 4 on field goals. They haven't had to kick many field goals. That's the thing with this offense. Like when they're scoring points, Kentucky's scoring touchdowns, but it's either really been touchdowns or nothing. Like they've only had 4 field goals and 3 of them were week 1. I mean, the kickers barely had to be used other than extra points.
That's
now, question. You said you guys have a special teams coordinator, right? Is it on the field?
Yes. Yeah, he's the running backs coach too. Jay Bulwer. Yep.
See, that's the difference between the two teams because I don't think Florida special teams coordinator is actually on the field.
Yeah, well, for years Kentucky didn't even have a special teams coordinator, and they were such a disaster. Even 2021, the year they won 10 games, they weren't great on specials. Last year, it was actually costing them games, and they knew they had to make a change. And it's funny because we get to go to a select amount of open practices, throughout the offseason. And for my years of doing this at Kentucky, there was barely the special teamers would kick a few balls and go in early. This year, they would have live drills where they're gunning and they're doing live kicks, and they're having the players who are not a part of the drill in the face of the kickers screaming at them while they kick. Like they were taking it seriously this offseason. So because special teams killed them. I'm telling you, I think they might win 9 games last year if they had less special teams issues.
Like us, we have special teams galore. No, game changer coordinator.
Yeah, that's what we call it, game changer coordinator. Yeah, you change games.
It does change the games. Yeah, I know. A lot of people are special teams. It matters, man. It matters. There are hidden yards and hidden points on that unit.
Right, and I look at it like this with both of these teams because they're so similar.
Yeah.
For me, the thing is really going to come down to is which quarterback keeps the mistakes at a minimum.
Correct.
I agree.
Yep.
Which quarterback is gonna and which one's gonna make that play? Because I feel like both of these offenses really haven't shown as much.
Right.
And this is a game where you might see it on both sides. So I would say for Florida's side, what I want to see from Graham Mertz is not hit so many checkdowns. Like take some shots.
Yeah, he's gonna have to this week.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, I don't know if we see it, how often it's going to be, but
right.
I look at it like this: if if Ricky Pearsall is if he's up to catch another one-handed pass,
Yeah. It's hard to ask. It's hard to ask him to be OBJ every week.
Right. Oh my
Y'all
God.
always bread and butter ranking at that. Like you got other.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. That was unbelievable.
Jonathan, what's up?
Jonathan.
see you, man. This is a regular for us. He's one of our guys, man.
There you go.
We need to talk to Jonathan soon, man, because
Definitely need to talk to him soon.
Wait till now.
This is a great.
Yeah, it is a good question.
Yeah, which one is going to show?
So just with Kentucky's offensive line, like I said, last year I gave you the numbers: 47 sacks. Like they second most in Power 5, fifth most in the country. But this year it's been a lot better. I mean, again, 4 sacks, and part of that again, Devin Leary is very, very good at extending plays, and he doesn't go down. I mean, that is Will Levis would hold on to that ball too long, and he would take sacks, and some of those were his fault. Some of them were terrible protections. But this year, man, I mean, Leary, there's been, I think 2 of the sacks were free rushers where you have nothing you can do. So as long as that doesn't happen, you feel pretty good about Kentucky's, the offense line's chances at least giving him enough time to do something with the ball. I mean, even last week, he's not a guy who can really run. But there was a 3rd and 8, and Vandy was bringing the house. They had him wrapped up at one point. He's able to get out of the pocket. He runs for a 22-yard gain. Like, that is the type of thing he's been doing consistently all year. So he's very, very good at getting out of the pocket and not taking sacks. However, so where Kentucky's strong in the offensive line, they did move Eli Cox back to center. They were much better snapping the ball this week after Jagger Burton was struggling snapping. The 2 tackles have both been solid. Their guard play has not been good. So that's why they're, again, going back to it, being like a dead horse. But again, their early down efficiency has kind of lacked because they haven't been able to run the ball at the gut with some of the struggles they've had at guard play. So I think Kentucky's I think their offensive line will do enough in pass pro. At least they should. It's hard to say they won't, just given the fact they've been successful. I think the 4 sacks allowed are least in the SEC, which is just crazy given what happened last year. But this isn't like the 2021 offensive line that had Luke Fortner, had Dare Rosenthal, and Darian Kennard. But this is an improved unit from a year ago. I think they'll do enough to keep Leary on his feet. My question is more in the run game with this line.
Yeah, that's kind of the flip side for us too. So we've had to go back and forth between Jake Slaughter and Kingsley Walken because Kingsley's been injured with a high ankle sprain.
Yep.
Didn't play the first game, played the Tennessee game. Did play the first 2 games. He played Tennessee, sat out here. So hopefully he's able to go Saturday. Jake Slaughter, he's going to play?
They expect him.
All right,
They did.
Or they say it says still be determined, but from what I've gathered, I'm expecting him to play.
Good. And then guards have been okay-ish. I would probably say they've gotten some push in the run game. Hope that's good.
Salute to Richie. Shout out
Richard Laird, man. I didn't really have that many high hopes for Richard Laird, but like he's been very solid. He's been very reliable. Tackles have been low up and down. Austin Barber left tackle. He's been relatively fine. Damian George right tackle has been, I ain't gonna say an adventure, but it's been a little up and down. Mostly in pass protection, and the run game has been pretty solid. So no worries there.
They ran the hell out of the ball against Tennessee's front, who's not bad at all. So
that was a pretty active front, and the guys like Omari Thomas through days.
Oh yeah, no, Tennessee. I think they finished. I know when Kentucky went in there, they had the 9th best rushing defense at that point in the season. So they didn't lose much from that room. So I can't imagine. I'll take a quick peek on how they're doing against the run. But that number probably is a little up now because of the damage that number 7 did against them. Yeah, no, I and that was kind of my take with Florida going into the year, where I wasn't sure how good of a team they were, but the 2 things I had a lot of confidence in them were they were going to be able to run the ball behind a pretty good run blocking offensive line. I mean, I obviously, didn't think Florida would have an elite offense by any means, but I did have confidence that offensive line would do enough to open holes for those 2 backs, especially again, ETN. I think if he was an every down back, he might be the best running back in the SEC. I'd have to. I mean, I know Jaquavius Marks is like the leading rusher. I know Judkins and Saunders have been a little slow to the gate. I think Saunders over at Arkansas has been hurt, but I think ETN's right up there with those 2 guys from Ole Miss and Arkansas.
Yeah, because he just makes things happen. Like Montrell Johnson,
he looks like his brother.
He does.
His brother's pretty good now.
He does. Like Montrell Johnson was a guy, like if the hole's there, he'll hit it and hit it hard, but he'll have to poke and prod for it. ETN, if the hole's not quite there, he'll just make something out of nothing.
Right.
something that he'll probably should get maybe 2 yards out of. He'll end up somehow getting 5 or 6.
And that's what the great running backs do. I mean, that's what Etienne obviously is a quicker guy, but that's what the guys like Benny Sell and Chris Rodriguez were so good at, was making something out of nothing. And that's something that Ray Davis has done, pretty well, not at Etienne's level or anything like that. But those are what the really good running backs do, is when it looks like there's going to be nothing there, they still find a way to get 4 or 5 of those dirty yards.
You just had to bring up Benny Snell. I'm not gonna get up at 2018. You just had to bring up Benny Snell.
I mean, his most impressive. He obviously had his way against Florida that year, but the game that he was incredible in was Mississippi State, and that was the year that State had Montez Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, and Jonathan Abram, and he ran for 160 something and 4 touchdowns. They just could not do anything against that guy. That game was at home, so you can imagine what the crowd was like. That was the game. State was ranked 14, and with that win, Kentucky was ranked for the first time in 11 years. So, that he did have a really good game against Florida in 18, and he, in 17, he had that run that got taken back on the holding that was very questionable. That probably would have won the game for Kentucky in 17 too. So, Benny was a special player.
Yeah, he was. And for Florida side, the thing that surprised me, I would say, really about both teams, is like we mentioned, the defenses. Both defenses are, man. Like
that's why I think it's gonna be low scoring, man.
Yeah, like this just feels like a game where it's like 21-17 or something like that.
It's gonna be like the shoe Florida 2012.
It feels like First to 20 might win this game. It really does. I mean, I think too. I don't know how much. I just know last time Florida was here, and it's a new year, and anything could happen. I think it was 8 false starts and 15 procedural penalties. Like the crowd, yeah. I'm not trying to bring back bad memories. I'm just looking at.
That was probably the worst podcast we ever had, by the way.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, this is a day game, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. I think, I mean, last year when I was at Ole Miss, Ole Miss is not known for great crowds, and that was an incredible crowd for an 11 a.m. kick. So I don't put too much stock into the time of the game, but that's the other factor. I mean, Kentucky, if the crowd is able to put Florida behind the chains, Kentucky, I mean, they had a couple lapses on 3rd and long in the very first game of the season against Ball State. Other than that, I mean, they are just not giving up anything, and they're not giving up many explosive plays overall. And if Florida gets into 3rd and long, 2nd and long, it's going to be a tough day for that offense. It's going to be a tough day for really any offense against this Kentucky defense.
And real quick, I will say Jerry actually did just lie by saying that year that was the worst podcast we ever did, because it wasn't.
What was worse?
LSU?
South Carolina, we had when we literally started the podcast with it was like we did a state of emergency episode literally.
Oh, 2021. Okay, I was thinking last year y'all pummeled them. I got it.
It was not great.
Blew that by South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of Shane Beamer? I'm interested.
Interesting guy. I think he's a guy, like, whenever your team is going against him, you have to be aware of, like, you can't get upset. Like, he has a game plan.
Yeah.
You got to go in there focused.
Yeah, he just, I don't know. He comes off as phony, and that drives me nuts. It's just weird. They're just such a weird team because they have Spencer Rattler is playing at such a high level, and Xavier Legette has probably been the best wide receiver in the conference so far. But everything else is crap. That's like the best.
It's not good at all.
It's like you've seen that meme of like the Ferrari parked in
Yes.
Like that's Legette and Rattler, and the rest of the team is how it feels like with that team.
First of all, whoever
Will Rogers threw for 480, man.
Whoever owns that Ferrari in that house, first of all, I'm pretty sure they proud to see that picture. It's going to circulate. You got to reveal yourself and start cashing in on that.
Who are you out here?
What are you doing out here? Are you okay? Like, what's going on?
Oh man, that's one of my favorite memes. But
all you have to do is just get a Camaro, bigger house with the garage.
Oh, dude, that is such a funny one.
Goes through, and the house is blown away, and nothing's there but the Ferrari, and the Ferrari's flipped over.
Right?
It's so accurate though. It's just so relevant with sports, bro. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler's putting up great numbers.
He's been awesome.
He said he's been the best wide receiver in the conference, but
no doubt.
what the heck else do they have?
Nothing.
Yeah,
And their defense. I mean, their defense is horrendous.
And that all
Yeah.
don't get me
Like,
started.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the offense. You know, they're very. And one of my buddies on the Kentucky beat, Nick Roush, I want to give him credit. He wrote a story over the offseason how South Carolina reminded him of a lot of Kentucky last year, where there was a lot of hype. There was a quarterback with NFL aspirations, but there's an offensive line that was being overlooked. There were just holes. And Kentucky had a great defense last year. That's the biggest difference. Where you know the defense wasn't the issue at all last year. Where South Carolina's defense is not good at all. But it is similar where there was a lot of hype, but there was a lot of things that were kind of overlooked. That I think South Carolina's probably end up 6-6, 7-5 at best. So
Yeah.
I just hope one of those losses is to us.
you guys have them at home, so that'll help because that is right. You guys are home for that. No,
No,
We got
we're
to
we're on the road. Yeah, that my fault. Yeah, that's a tough place to play, but
It is.
they're not. They are not. I don't know. I'm not high on that. Mississippi State put how many points on them? Like
They went
27.
crazy.
Yeah, 480 yards. I mean, Mississippi State's offense is a mess right now, and they were able to do that. So, I don't know. I'm not high on South Carolina. I think Florida and Kentucky are both better teams than South
I will
Carolina.
say once again, that does have my radar up later on in the season is probably Arkansas. With the way
Yeah,
they play.
they're another one of those teams where
They're
like you don't know what
sleeper
you're gonna get. Yeah, they are.
You don't know, like you could get a shootout like they did with LSU this weekend, or
Yeah,
you get something crazy.
Exactly, and they got a really consistent quarterback too.
But you will see a new look from Florida as their uniforms will be the color of my jacket.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's the black uniform game.
That's the black uniform game. Okay.
First of all, I want to see how
That'll be
because if you look at Florida's field, I mean, they paint the
Yeah.
ends up orange with the blue letters.
Of course.
I'm looking forward to seeing the field being painted black because I know
We're not doing the end zones black, bro.
I think we are.
I hope they do.
I hope
I
they do.
love when teams change it up.
That would be cold,
It'll
bro.
be so cold, man. I need it in my life.
Yeah. Kentucky
That'd be
missed
so
an
cool.
opportunity. They had their 50th anniversary game for their stadium, and the old Power K logo is one that just is loved around here. It's just, I don't know. There's something about throwbacks, and they should have.
Yes.
Everyone's like, they didn't reveal the uniforms. Usually, they put out a tweet like a day or two before the game of what they're going to wear, and they didn't put it out to like an hour before kick, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're going to wear them! They're going to wear them!" Just to be let down, like. So it's cool. I even love the black unis that Tennessee wore against Kentucky last year. Like I'm all for those alternate ones, as long as it's not like Oregon where you have 15 different jerseys. I'm cool with it.
No, Kentucky's jerseys are usually like in my eyes. I think they're kind of cold. Like
I love the chrome domes.
That chrome
Oh,
is shit.
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and they looked really good with the sun. It was really bright. It was really, really bright at the construction site down in Nashville last week, and it looked really good.
That game with the way your stadium is and the light just beams down on it.
Yeah,
Yes.
What is Florida wearing against Kentucky? Are we wearing all white?
I'm not sure yet. They haven't done that review
I
yet.
thought they had makeup.
I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be orange helmets, white jerseys, and blue pants, something like that.
Blue pants against Kentucky is nasty.
I have no clue what Kentucky's going to do. I feel like I don't know what they did against Florida. I know it was blue and something the last time they played Florida at home. Usually they don't bring out those dark gray jerseys for Florida. Usually that's Georgia, but there's no Georgia on the schedule this year. It was LSU 2 years ago, so I have no idea.
How you guys not play Georgia this year? How did that work?
Kentucky? They play Georgia, just not in Lexington.
Hold on a minute.
I was like,
No, not in Lexington. They play them next week. Next week.
I was gonna say, how did y'all finesse y'all playing?
No, I'm sure Mark Stoops would be pretty happy if that were the case. Now they go
speaking
to
of Georgia, how
they're-
did they finesse their way into the schedule they have in the first place?
Yeah. Oh, there's Georgia
Come on.
schedules. Yeah. But Kentucky's next four games are all ranked opponents, and it's got Florida, obviously, at Georgia, Missouri, who we'll see what they really are.
They're also
They're an up and down team that could be good,
Yeah.
could be average.
Brady Cook's playing a lot better this year. I mean, that's kind of been the wild card there. And then what's the other one? Tennessee after a bye week at home. So.
Right. Now, I will say before we do score predictions, the guy on Kentucky's defense, that concerns me. You mentioned him earlier. Trevin Wallace.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The way he's being used. He's a middle linebacker. They bring him off the edge sometimes. I mean, like, this guy's all over the field. Like, wherever the ball is, that's where he is. Like, just one of those distinctive linebackers. First of all, I don't know how he got to the state of Georgia. I don't know what Kirby was looking at, but
I don't either. He was a high guy. I mean, he was a top 100 recruit, so
Mark's
missed.
He's a dude. He gets the steals. Like, let me tell you, congratulations, Aaron, because I'm from around this area. On Devin Smith, the linebacker from Brunswick, Georgia.
Yeah, I've heard he's under the radar too.
He is a steal. He is him. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were able to get those two twins from who moved back to Kentucky, and then were able to flip them from Michigan. So yeah, no, they do a pretty good job on their trail. It's not always the highest graded or highest ranked guys, but they find dudes. And Trevin is like, I mean, maybe I'm biased because I see him in person every week, but just from every college game, I haven't seen an inside linebacker do what he's done all year. It's just simple as that. The way his side to sideline speed. The way he, like you said, he comes up and he blitzes. I mean, four sacks from an inside linebacker position. It's freaky for a season, let alone 4 games. And he had a pressure last week that easily could have been a sack, but ended up being a pick 6. So you won't trade that. But he's really, really athletic. I guess the areas in his game, sometimes he will get, he'll fly to the ball so fast that it'll kind of be ahead of the play, and sometimes overthink things and things will get completed over him. But overall, man, overall, this is an all SEC linebacker. There's no doubt about it.
If you want to watch good linebacker play, this game is the game for you.
Oh my gosh! I mean,
probably have like 3 all-conference linebackers.
Yeah, and Derek Jackson, who's Kentucky's other inside backer, he's not an all-conference guy, but he's just steady, man. He doesn't miss tackles. He's very instinctual. He's the one. I don't know if you saw the play against Vandy last week. He had an interception, and I don't know. It seems like a stupid play, but ended up being smart. He had Vandy. He catches the ball. Vandy has two guys wrapped around him. He laterals it back to Andrew Phillips, and Phillips runs 50 yards.
I do remember that play.
He's a high IQ linebacker. So,
yes.
Yeah, they've got strong linebacker play.
Yeah, wow. This game might end up being one of those old school.
It's gonna be. I'm telling you,
bar fight.
What's the over? I see you have the spread. What's the over under?
Let me see what the over under is.
Probably I'm gonna guess 44 or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't think it's gonna get much more than that if it even hits 44.
45, one of those two.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I just think, again, it's not that I don't think either offense is bad per se. I think very highly of these two defenses, and I think both offenses are still. They haven't hit. Neither of them have hit their stride, and this is not the game where you're going to necessarily hit. It is 45.
I know it.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, and that does sound about right. I just don't see this as a game where either team explodes offensively unless there's just communication breakdowns, penalties, something like that. Where if say. And Florida's defense, to their credit, they gave up the explosion against Utah the first play of the season, and then they completely and they were great the rest of the game. Yeah, so if something like that happens, I think Kentucky has a better offense where they could do that at a consistent level. Even Florida, if they were able to hit a big play, that could put a little scare into Kentucky. But I don't. There's no reason to believe, based on what we've seen so far, that's going to happen to either defense.
Right, but I mean both defense. Look, I'm gonna put it like this. Both these defenses, like all the linebackers, all need to come out with the neck roll.
Yeah, these are good. It's going to be a real physical game. It's going to be fun. Look, I love points, obviously, but I think games that you just see high level football, especially on the defensive side of the ball, sound tackling. You're not seeing all these missed and crappy tackles where it's like, he had an 80-yard play, but they missed like 4 tackles. That's you're not going to say. I think it's going to be a very good football game. It's gonna be what the SEC is supposed to be about.
Yeah, sir. I'm excited, man.
I'm so excited for this. It's gonna be very much a field position defensive game, and there is at least enough playmakers on both sides of both these offenses where if there's a breakdown or something like that, something could happen. They can flip position, get field goals or whatnot. Maybe sneak a touchdown here and there. So it's gonna be really, really fun to see who breaks first. Who manages to make that big play first? Who is able to
come down to special teams?
It could.
Special teams.
It could, and now it seems like you have two good kickers in this game. Where last year, who was kicking? Was it the same kicker as last year's?
Adam Mahalik.
Yeah. Did they bench him or did they bench him?
Yeah, we benched. We changed.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. So
Yeah.
I didn't. You had a 54-yarder mixed in there last week, right?
Yeah, but Jerry
Yeah.
to the goal line. My God.
But man, shout out Trace Mack though, man. I don't know what he was on the roster the whole time. I don't know what happened.
That's a great name, by the way.
Trace smacked the ball.
Trace, that's an awesome name.
That's an elite football name.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a kicker name, but it's still that's an elite name, man.
And
Right.
guess what? He's not the normal size of kick. He's what, 6'3" and what?
Yeah, I'm looking at him now. He looks like he's a grown ass man too.
Yeah, we got us one.
But there's something
Yeah.
to say about a lot of kickers in college football these days.
Oh my god, yeah, the guy Clemson pulled off the street who missed that kick that would have won the game. It was was it something where he had a full-time job and he was in Charleston and Dad was like, dude, come back, please. We miss you. We need you. And then he unfortunately loses the game for them.
His
They
parents
were setting it up so perfect in the booth. They booked it to perfection, and then he botched the finish.
Botched the finish. And I think UVA as a kicker is like the oldest player in college football right now.
He has like children, family.
Was that a guy with like 3 kids?
Like
Yeah,
3.
he's 34. He's 34 years old.
Yeah.
And that's insane, man.
Come on, man.
Crazy. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
you gotta have something better to do, Mike.
Good job, man.
I mean, most guys are out of the NFL by 34. Like
Right,
the vast,
man.
unless you're a quarterback, kicker, punter, like you're usually out of the league by 34.
Yep.
It's like, my man, you got a mortgage to pay. You see, for some little things other than college football.
He's got a lot, yeah. So I don't know. It's the Wild West with all the COVID years with the
Yeah, it
transfer
is,
portal.
man. It is.
It's a different ball game. That's why you're seeing close games across the country. That's why you're seeing, and I think that part of it's really good for the sport. The sport is wide open. Like there's a very good chance there's a 2-loss team I don't know if it'll happen, but there is a better chance loss team in the playoffs.
Like, I don't even know who the best team in the country is. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it's I have a sleep. I think it's Washington.
I
think it's UW. Like it's we'll see. I mean, they got to still play some of the better teams in the Pac-12, and it's a tough. This is tough for the Pac-12, man. It's a damn good conference.
This is
It's
the best year they've had in over a decade plus.
I mean,
yeah.
I think you can make a case the best 2 teams. I still think Georgia probably is up there, but you could make a case easily. Washington and Oregon are the best 2. Like easily,
Oregon
I
is-
would.
I've gone back and forth between all those teams. Gone back and forth.
A lot of people will not agree with me when I say this. After this past weekend, I'm throwing Ohio State right in there.
Yeah, I am too. I think
They're developing.
I was very high. I was very high in them going into the year, and I think the way they played down the stretch, that was what he went. Like Notre Dame's a very good football team this year. Run the table the rest of the year if things break the right way. So
To go
yeah,
in
that was a gritty win.
with that, first of all, that defense is legit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
They've missed the defense in Columbus for a while now.
Yeah.
That's one thing they needed.
Yeah, and I mean Michigan hasn't looked like Michigan. I mean they're still really good. They have a great offensive line, but they haven't. They've played cupcakes and they haven't exactly it hasn't been as dominant. And again, I think something that's gone underrated too. That play clock really does shorten the game from a plays perspective, and that's why you're not seeing some of these crazy scores. Like you'll see them occasionally. I think. I don't know what it was. Someone lost 77-7 in an FCS game. I don't know, but you're not seeing as much of that this year. You're seeing like Kentucky and EKU where it's 28-13 or Charlotte and Florida it's 22-7. It's not necessarily meaning the team that won like Florida and Kentucky played bad that day. Just they didn't have the plays they normally do. So
Yeah.
there's a lot more parity, which is I think good for the
Some
sport.
parity. The play clock is helping. That a lot of teams have to replace a lot of players, especially at quarterback.
Yeah.
In the top 10. There is one team other than like Michigan. I've gone back and forth with them, especially in the Big Ten. One team I really have my eye on down the stretch is Penn State.
Yeah.
They're sneaky too because they have a quarterback for the first time probably since McSorley, and they can run the ball. We know that, and their defense is good. That I think they have to go to Columbus, so that's tough. I don't know where they have Michigan.
Damn, dude.
I know they do, because last year they had them at home and they were winning in the fourth quarter early, and then Ohio State kind of ran away from them. But
Hey, Aaron, I told these 2 before the season to remember that name, Drew Allen.
he's a dude.
He's advertised so far.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. Hey, he was the number one quarterback in the country coming out for a reason.
Yes.
Starting to see it.
Yeah, and he's got to play 2 more years of college after this too, so that they can build something there. Yeah. And
they build something. So
yeah, I know Sean Clifford wasn't great, but they usually, for some reason, they're able to keep these starting quarterbacks for years and years and build something at least.
What it is, and they're always able to recruit really well on defense. They have a lot of athletic players there, running backs always, a good offensive line, tight ends. So you finally get the quarterback in the mix. They have a chance.
Yeah, they gotta. The big thing for them, they gotta at least split those Michigan and Ohio State games, and then let the chips fall where they may. They gotta split those games.
Dang, there's a lot of teams like with crazy destiny. Like Texas is another team. I feel like they could easily be top 3, top 4 in the country.
Yeah. And they're scared. The Big 12's down this year, but like Kansas, they beat them this week. Like that's Jaden Daniel, man. He's a dog. Like that is not going to be an easy game this weekend. And Kansas won in Lawrence in Austin a couple of years ago. I know Texas is a lot better, but that's a sneaky game. Like they don't have that many tough games left on the schedule. I mean, Oklahoma is always a tough game, even though I don't think Oklahoma is very good this year. But yeah, Texas is another interesting one because what they did at Alabama. I know Alabama's not the same Alabama this year, but still go down to T-Town and dominate like that. That's impressive.
I will say this. I do agree about Kansas. Texas, even though it's a home game, they better not sleep.
They better not sleep on them. No.
Don't sleep on them boys over there, man. They're good. They're talented. Yeah. They got the quarterback.
They're really well coached. Like Lance Lee, I can't believe they were able to. And maybe we'll see how long it lasts. It's going to be hard. Him and Mike Elko, like it's going to be hard to hold on. Like I think
last year's at their schools.
Yeah, you would think because they're doing incredible jobs at really tough places to win. Like,
speaking of Mike Elko, Notre Dame has to come play Duke this weekend.
That's
game day.
In Durham. Game day is going to be.
That's going to be a game.
That's the game.
Yeah,
and it's not for basketball.
I know. I know. Yeah, and actually, I was talking to some people planning wise at UK. The runner-up was to come here for the Florida Kentucky game. So it's not like it's not a great slate overall, but I do agree with the call. What Duke has done, it's really, really impressive. And Kentucky, I still think they'll have their chances to get that game day here. But what Duke is doing and the way I know Clemson's down, but the way they put it on them out of the gate.
They were tearing them up, man.
Unbelievable. And Riley Leonard's a really good quarterback. There are a lot of good. I was talking about this. This draft is like, if you suck in the NFL this year, like it's a good year to suck because there's some quarterbacks now.
SEC Nation's going to Lexington, so they got half.
Yeah, they got half of it. Yeah.
Hey, you already know Tebow's going to choose Kentucky, bro.
Tebow Kentucky's not for the rest of the year. I don't care if SEC Nation does show up. He's not allowed if he does that. But speaking of that,
hopefully Roman Harper won't call Kentucky soft again because then Mark Stoops will get really pissed off. No, I will give. You know what? If he was just talking about the offensive line last year, he was right. So I'll give him that. Mm-hmm. But nowhere else. But the offensive line, they were.
Hey man, coaches out here clapping back this week, man. Lou Holtz and Ryan Day get into.
I love that. I had no issues with that.
Hilarious.
That was incredible.
People were like, "Oh, he's going after an old man." It doesn't matter. He would have gone after Sister Jean if she said something like that. Like it's all.
Who sat on the Pat McAfee show? He called.
He was out of pocket, bro.
I mean, and as soon as the first thing after the Florida game that Mark Stoops said was, we're not soft. Like they hear that crap. They use that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's like, did you not hear what he said about it? I was glad he did.
Yeah, he was crapping on him.
Like if someone said something like that about my program, I probably like to say, "Well,
clap back."
Yeah. Well, hey, it's not going to happen. But if Zach Wilson balls out for the Jets this weekend, did you see Joe Namath? I'm done with him. I hate him. Blah, blah, blah. He has every right. He has every right to clap back. He has every right to clap back at Joe Namath.
But Joe Namath says it goes when it comes to the New York Jets. When he says go,
he says goes. But if I'm Zach Wilson, I'd clap back a little bit. Why
not? That better shut up.
No, only if he balls out because they're playing the Chiefs. So.
I don't You've had
Oh,
so
he
many
sucks.
plays, you can't see anything.
At this point, I almost feel bad for Zach Wilson because he just stinks, and he's saying the right things this year. At this point, like if you're the coaching staff, why not try any other human being? Like there's Aaron Rodgers in his wheelchair right now would do a better job. Like they are brutal. So
Their season literally collapsed not even 4 plays in.
Dude, I was on as I was telling you guys that we have our show in town on Monday nights on live radio, and I was just like I was laughing, but not that he was hurt. Just like that is the most Jets thing. You can't even like make it up. Like you can't. Like 4 plays, no completions, done. Like I'm from up there. My friends from upstairs from up there are split between the Giants and Jets for the most part, some Patriots mixed in. And I almost feel bad for those guys when I usually just have no sympathy.
Aaron, I'm gonna be honest. You know what I said after my Cowboys won 40-0, and then I saw that for the Jets, even though they won. MetLife Stadium is cursed.
Oh yeah, that place is
running around the stadium somewhere.
1,000%.
Because I mean, it's injuries or the team is terrible. It's like nothing ever seems to go right.
Yeah, the Giants won a Super Bowl the second year they opened that stadium, and nothing good has really happened. There's only been, believe it or not, there's been one playoff game in that stadium's 13-year life. One playoff game. The Giants beat the Falcons in 2011 in the wild card round. That was the only playoff game in MetLife Stadium.
Imagine if the butt fumble would have happened in that stadium. I sure did. Butt fumble. Did it happen in that stadium?
Yeah,
I thought it did.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought that was in New
What year was it?
2000.
What year?
I want to say
2012. It has its own Wikipedia page. Yeah, 2012. The butt fumble has a Wikipedia page. Yeah. MetLife opening 2010. So that was.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Yeah, butt fumble. The Deshaun Jackson play, the kick return. That was in MetLife. Yeah. So there's other than 2011 and a couple good seasons for the Giants. The Jets have never made the playoffs since MetLife. Oh, one time. The first year of MetLife, the Jets that was the year they lost to the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. So the Giants have been in the playoffs 3 times since MetLife opened, the Jets once. That's the state of MetLife Stadium.
That's good. Just tear the stadium down.
Please. And it sucks. I've been there many times. It's just the old stadium was a dump, but it had character. You know, sometimes like a lot of the college stadiums is that way, right? Where they're dumps, but you could just feel inside like this is a football place. Like good things happen in here. Yeah. But that's how the old stadium was. But the new one, it's just very corporate. It feels like you're in a warehouse, and there's just not as much.
Like a warehouse. It's kind of like in a weird location.
It's on cheap land in East Rutherford. I get that part of it. Like, there's nowhere in Manhattan to build the stadium. I do get that, but like, it is just it sucks. The new stadium is very. It doesn't. The old was right next to it, so they were able to make it work in Jersey at one point. It's just not. I've been to both. It doesn't compare.
Before we wrap this up and get out of here, we got to get score predictions in. The spread is Kentucky 2.5 right now. I'm gonna be honest, this is a picking game for me.
Oh, it is a pick. And 2.5. You get 3 for home field, so they're taking a half point off of Kentucky.
Right.
People, if you're betting on this game, don't
bet on it. Don't
stay far away.
Unless you bet the under, that might work.
Unless you bet the under. Yeah, unless you stay far away. You know what? Don't even do that, because then you bet the under, all of a sudden both teams 25 points or something like that. So, but let's go ahead and get predictions. And Aaron, we're gonna start with you.
I think Kentucky's going to win this game. Last year I picked Florida to win this game. This year, I think the reason why I think Kentucky, there are a couple of reasons. One, they know they have to win this game, because if they don't, things could really go haywire, because they're going to Georgia. They should beat Missouri, but you got Tennessee, who they never beat. They never win in Starkville. So as bad as State is, that's not a gimme. Then they have Alabama. Then they have South Carolina on the road. They have Louisville, who's better. Like, this is a game you have to take advantage of, because you have it at home and you're on a roll right now. So I do think the way that Kentucky's defense kind of matches up with this Florida offense, I think if you're, we were talking about it's going to come down to which quarterback's going to make that big play. And I just have a little more faith, just based on resume, that Devin Leary can do it than Graham Mertz. If this game were in Gainesville it'd be a little different because if you look at I don't have it in front of me. Graham Mertz's home and road splits, like in his career, not really as much what he did at Florida, but more so at Wisconsin because there's more of a resume. It's insane what his home and road splits are, like from a completion standpoint, percentage standpoint, touch everything. So I'm kind of going to give some edge to home field. Again, I think low scoring. I think we're talking, I think the game a couple of years ago was 20-13. I'm going to say the same thing, 20-13.
Marcus, you want to go ahead, bro?
I'll go. So I'll take Florida here, and I'll probably go somewhere like 2014, something like that.
It's going to be something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute dogfight on both sides. But I think our defense will be able to control the line of scrimmage, hopefully, and then we run just enough. ETA actually gets the football, and we get guys like Trey Wilson the ball, provided he's healthy, and you're going to be able to make some plays. So also 2014, and Mertz does what he's done all year so far and just protects the ball and just doesn't humiliate himself out there and just keeps the line moving.
So I'm going to go 24-23.
We got the over.
24-23. Florida. I think, it's going to be a tough game. And fun fact, initially I said if Florida beats Utah, we're going to Lexington and we're going to lose. So I initially picked Utah and I lose Kentucky. I truly did. But I did say we're going to go 2-1 in that, Utah, Tennessee, Kentucky. So I'm going to trust my Gators here to get a win slightly over Kentucky. I think it's going to be a sloppy game, though. I really do.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah. Unless like one of these offenses has the breakout performance. That's just how it's going to be because outside of McNeese and Ball State, like neither offense has had a huge explosion. So,
yeah.
This is my turn. I'm going to go. Man, I do think this game is going to be sloppy, but I'm going to go around 24-14. I'm going to say Florida. And the 24 is going to come because of a late touchdown, I think. But I think part of the reason for this pick is kind of the same reason I did for Tennessee. This is a revenge game. This is games where Florida, and Billy mentioned it actually after the game in Charlotte. He mentioned how, Kentucky came in the games and beat them last year. So that's – They're I can tell you right now, they're laser focused on this game. It's a noon game. It's not a night game. So that
does help a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That does help because the night game at Kentucky is a little scary. It's a little scary.
Yeah, I think
hate that happened, but if it wasn't Felipe Franks getting hurt, I don't think we would have won that game. Hate to say that.
That was one of those typical Kentucky collapses that they've kind of gotten away from the last couple of years. But no, you bring up a really good – I like that point about the revenge factor, and that's kind of what I've been weighing this week because Kentucky obviously lost to Vanderbilt last year, and all week it was bringing up certain plays that kind of came up in that game. For example, we talked about Maxwell Harrison. He was a redshirt freshman last year. Carrington Valentine gets hurt. He has to check in on 4th and 11, and he comes in and he gives up a 40-yard bomb. Octavius Oxendine had a hands to the face that extended that drive. Harrison has 2 pick sixes for a touchdown. Ox has 6 tackles and I think 2 TFLs. So there is something to be said about revenge games. And the only other flip of the coin of that is what's interesting. Kentucky's never been in this situation in Florida, where the dudes on their roster, all they know is winning this game. Like, they don't come into this game with the mindset like, crap, it's Florida. Like, we have no – like, with Georgia, they're going to go next week. Like, I hope we can hang around because, that's how the series has been. Or even Tennessee.
Around with them. Not even trying to be funny. They probably could.
They're could. And that could – the question is, will that mindset hurt them or help them? So I have been weighing that, and that's why would I be shocked if Florida wins this game? Absolutely not. But I just think from being around this group 4 days a week like I am, there's a different level of focus that wasn't there last year. Even going into this Florida game where they ended up winning, like this is a group that's really connected. They're really playing. They're doing a lot of good things. Like they've had those spurts every game where it's kind of got off the rails, but they've been able to recover each time. And this is the best team they've played so far. I totally get that. But I don't know. There's something a little different being around this Kentucky team that even when I was around them in 2018, like there's just a different level of focus that I don't think like the fact that they've won this game is going to mean much. I think they're going to they'll go into it a little confident because they've won it, but they're not going to be cocky and be like, "Yep, we won last year. That means we're going to win."
Positive confidence.
Correct. So
yeah.
that's normally it would be again like it'd be the past old Kentucky. It's like just because they won last year means nothing. And I still don't know how much it means that they won this game the last 2 years, but I'm just more so basing it on what I've seen and what I've been around. Where I don't know. Would I be shocked if Florida wins this game? Absolutely not. But I think this Kentucky team's there's something different about it this year that gives me a good feeling for them this weekend.
Right. And another reason is I think Florida's defense. I think this defense makes a lot of plays. I honestly think they have a chance to like really stop the run. Ray Davis is one of those guys you got the key on. That is
absolutely.
For me, defense. I feel like he is the number one guy they need to key on. I love Barion Brown and Dane Key at wide receiver. I love what I've seen from them. And yes, you have to key in on them, but
sure.
Ray Davis is what makes this offense go for me. I feel like they focus on him. They're able to shut him down. Well, not shut him down, but contain him. I feel like that's where Florida wins the game right there.
You have to run the ball to win in the SEC. And if Kentucky can't run the ball, they're not going to win the game. If Florida can't run the ball, they're not going to win the game.
Because if we're forced to pass and we get behind, and we're forced to pass, bro, I'm telling you now, y'all win the game.
Right.
We can't get behind. We have to start fast.
Yeah, and that's something. The first 2 weeks of the year, Kentucky, really the first three, more so the first two, they were starting so slow, and then last week was like 21-0's the biggest first.
That was crazy.
They haven't led by that much in the first quarter under Stoops until last week. So I don't think that's going to happen by any means this week. But it is going to be interesting to see who kind of comes out hot because that could mean a lot in a close game where points might be hard to come by.
Right. This is going to be one of those games. I feel like. Well, I will say this. I do agree with Jared. If we're forced to throw the ball. It's not going to look unless Graham throws 300 plus again.
Hey, maybe he'll do what he.
Who the hell knows, man?
Was it his first college game during that COVID year where it was like, oh my God, this guy's going to win the Heisman? I remember.
One of 23.
He was unbelievable, and he was chucking it down. It wasn't just checkdowns, man. He was chucking it down the field. I don't remember who that game was against, but it's in there. It's in the tank for Graham Mertz. Again, this was a guy I did a lot of work on because it looked like he was going to be at Kentucky. So it's just I don't know. It really is a pick'em game, but it comes down to just the vibe I've had.
I do remember that he did visit Kentucky, and then all of a sudden, but wasn't him and Devin Leary on campus at the same time, or did like Devin Leary come in the next week?
Yeah, so Leary came in afterwards. So what happened, I mean, just from my reporting of it and my understanding of the situation, Mertz came in here, the paperwork was done. And there was that report out there, I don't remember who made it, that he had committed to Kentucky. And it was true. Like, he was coming to Kentucky. And then, Mark Stoops was able to, not officially, but he has the deal with Liam Cohen. That's his guy. And Liam Cohen interjected and said, I think I have a guy who's a little bit of a better fit. And that happened to be Devin Leary. And, Leary, I thought Leary was going to go to Bama, go to Auburn, somewhere a little bigger. And because he was the number one quarterback in the portal at the time. I think at the end of the day, only Hartman was the bigger, higher ranked guy in the portal. When they were able to win out with Leary, and, Mertz had to go find somewhere else. So, that's not a knock on Mertz by any means. It just didn't work out here. So maybe, hey, that could be something where Mertz comes in, wants to play balls to the wall and prove,
let's go.
So there's that too. But yeah, it's easier said than done against good defenses. But yeah, I'm telling you, like, that's another sneaky storyline of this game. That was and Mark Stoops talked very, very highly of Graham Mertz today. There's clearly respect for him, and Mark Stoops really liked him. I think if Stoops just had it his way, Mertz, and not that he would have picked Mertz over Leary necessarily, but he would have been just fine if Mertz was, was starting against Florida this weekend.
Right.
Right. So, man, this has been a great show tonight. Aaron, let everybody know where they can follow you and you read your stuff.
Yeah, guys. A Gershon99 on Twitter, and then obviously the 247 affiliate for all our online content is the easiest way to find me. So, again, I really appreciate the time. I always love talking to you guys.
Always, brother, for
Always.
sure.
If you see any depressed Giants tweets,
They're coming from me.
it's not his
Yeah.
fault. Somehow he was born into being a fan. I mean,
That's
Aren't we
right.
all?
Blame my dad.
but you know what else I noticed? It's a lot of people from New York that are Cowboys fans too.
Man, everybody.
Yeah.
Dude,
Cowboys fans are everywhere, man. Actually, it's funny. Half the people on the beat here at UK are Cowboys fans, and I heard 40-0 all week and then I was able to give it back a little bit today with the Cardinals game. Yes, so the Cowboys fans there are literally 3 people I can think of right now. Two of the TV. They're all with the TV stations here that are Cowboys fans.
Nuts.
Yeah, they're all giving me crap. All 3 of them.
Yeah, it's like that here too. Like my neighbors across the street from me are Cowboys fans. My uncles and aunts, have a lot of them.
They're everywhere. Oh yeah, I grew up 30 minutes outside New York City, and a lot of my good friends up there are Cowboy fans too. So I think I put it out, maybe even commented on it. Micah Parsons is like one of my favorite players in the league right now. I wish he was not wearing a star in his helmet. But dude, he's why not? Because he ruins my life twice a year. But he's a star. I wanted him to be the pick at 11 for the Giants in 2021. But,
wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking. No, I wasn't too mad because they got the extra first round pick in that trade, but Evan Neal hasn't panned out. So now it's like, hindsight 2020. It's like, God.
At least you got Kadarius Toney for that.
Yeah, I really wish Kadarius worked out, but he kind of ran himself out of New York a little bit there.
He did.
If y'all didn't take it, we ended up taking Travis Etienne instead. Thank God.
I was born into the Cowboys fandom for a different reason.
Oh, AB.
Okay.
Oh my God.
For a different reason. And by the way, I will admit this right now because I'm pretty sure he may not be watching, but he'll probably hear it. He didn't win most of the pool games we played. I did not win all of them. I did at least get one.
Emphasis on one.
Emphasis on one.
At that point, dang it, that's all I cared about. I had to at least get one, and I did. In some of them games, I could have won, but circumstances beyond my control interfered.
Because you lost to a Hall of Fame, not only a Hall of Fame football player, a Hall of Fame competitor.
Those guys are. Yeah,
we are competitors in our family, so that's just how it is. I mean,
I honestly, I've always been a hate the Eagles guy more than the Cowboys, especially lately with the Eagles being as good as they are. So
yeah,
I'll give you that at least.
Well, I will say this: everybody in America was actually rooting for the Eagles to beat the Patriots when they played in the Super Bowl.
Not me.
What?
I was.
No, I was rooting for the Patriots.
I get why because you guys beat the Patriots twice.
Yeah. The Eagles are. I hate everything about the Eagles.
Dang, bro, it's like my third team. I can't do.
It's the New York. It's the Giants rivalry. I mean, I don't know if I'm a Giants fan if I feel differently, but I do love Jason Kelce though. Now, especially with all I listen to the podcast every Wednesday religiously. So
I would say if I wasn't a Giants fan, I probably would have been an Eagles fan because they played in the Super Bowl here, in Super Bowl 39. Plus Brian Dawkins is from Jacksonville. Yeah. I would have probably been the Jags guy.
Yeah,
I was a Donovan McNabb guy for sure.
Oh yeah,
the Eagles because I hate everything about they. I would say if every team in the NFC East I hate the most, it is the Eagles.
Wow,
I will admit this right now. As much as I hate them, I'm so sick of the New England Patriots. You don't Skippy. I was cheering for them 3 hours.
That's crazy.
Everybody hates the Patriots. You have to hate the Patriots.
I mean, it's just different as a Giants fan when you beat them twice, and it's like they didn't hurt me.
Wow,
they didn't hurt me.
As a Dolphins fan, I can say that.
You have to deal with them twice a year and a lot of pain. But Yeah,
Yeah.
look, I was definitely rooting for New England. Trying to think. I don't know if it's not like I sat there and rooted for New England when they were playing other teams, but like I was rooting hard for Atlanta the year that they blew it. I was rooting for LA the year they played each other, but when they were playing the Eagles, I was definitely rooting hard for New England.
Well, the thing about that is Jerry can actually laugh at the Patriots because they did beat them in the most unconventional way.
I love it.
It's still one of the funniest plays I've ever
Oh,
seen. Like, how?
Like, why would you put Gronk out there when the man's immobile was all hell?
That was so stupid.
You were shocked. Clearly, you put Gronk out there. Why?
That was so funny. I was at a Giants game that day, and we were all watching it like on the shuttle back to the car. It was not a good Giants game. We were leaving early, if I remember correctly. What year was that one?
2018.
20.
That was yeah.
Yeah, my parents are Patriots fans, so I was laughing at I really laughed at when they drafted Mac Jones. I was like, because I'm watching, they're going to draft Mac Jones. I know they are.
Yeah, I think the whole world kind of knew that one was coming when it did. But look, he had a really good rookie year, but ever since it's kind of gone a step back.
All right. Well, yeah, man, we appreciate you for coming on.
Hey, anytime.
Definitely get you back on. Hey, we got to get you on our other podcast, Who Talks Some NFL.
Absolutely.
We'll actually be doing that tomorrow, but unfortunately, I had to talk about my Cowboys. Unfortunately, I may or may not show up. I will say that. I used to be
come to the stage. We all do after those, AB. You'll be fine.
You get a chance to go after that Mac Jones guy this week. So.
Oh yeah. We gonna kill him. We gonna take it out on him.
You better.
You better do that, or else.
Or else, right?
I'm gonna need Michael Parsons to sack the hell out of him 3-4 times. I do that. Especially since Rex Ryan will call him out. Oh yeah, it's a wrap.
They'll be fine. Cowboys will be fine. I'm confident in that. We'll see come playoff time if they'll be fine, but they'll be fine the regular season.
Well, at least I get to get my early season depression out at 9:30 a.m. So I'm
that's right, London. Yeah.
And the London Jaguars will be playing the Atlanta Falcons. So
no, I think Jacksonville will bounce back too.
Look, London Jaguars.
I think CJ Stroud, they might have something there in Houston with him.
I don't even think it's a might. They do.
Right, they do.
I think they do. Yeah. So I don't think. Obviously, you don't want to give up a kick return to a fullback, but like Houston has some they're not the same old Houston where you lose to them and you're like, oh my god, the Texans.
I don't know nothing about that. We lose to them all the time.
Yeah, I know the Texans. It's weird. The Texans play well in their division. Like it's weird. I think they beat. Did you guys swept them last year, right?
No, we lost them the first game and we beat them the last game.
Okay, yeah. So because they split with Indy and that last game of the season, and then they beat Tennessee. They beat the brakes off Tennessee and Nashville. So all three of their wins last year were in the division.
AFC South is so funky because the Colts don't beat us in Jacksonville. We don't beat the Texans anymore.
I know it's weird. It's a weird ass division.
Tennessee is just.
Yeah,
they're just there.
Yeah,
and they'll still find a way to win this division by 2 games for no reason whatsoever.
I'm pretty confident they'll be fine at the end of the day. Same with the Cowboys. Dolphins might score 50 points a game. You have nothing to worry about up there. I'm the one in here who's going to be depressed at the end of the day.
Yes, they do.
Oh God,
that defense is Swiss cheese. Now it wasn't because the Broncos just
they're not going to go 17-0. There might be a week where the defense, the offense can't bail them out, but that offense is good. Like I know Denver's bad, but not a lot of defenses are going to have trouble with that.
Right.
Yeah, I heard the Patriots' good defense really good. They had issues with them all day long.
Like right now, the Dolphins' offense is like the Atlanta Braves hitting the ball.
They're the Atlanta Braves hitting the ball. They're the 1999 Rams. It is. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible.
So. But we appreciate you for coming on, man.
Anytime, guys.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have you back on soon.
Yeah, just let me know anytime.
Yes, sir.
Yep, for sure.
Good talking to y'all.
Likewise, brother. Be safe.
All right, y'all too. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, man. Likewise.
All right.
That was Eric Gershon, and man, what a show! Allie Pete to start, and then we get Aaron on discussing things. And hey, 2.5 hours, but it's 2.5 hours of the show y'all gonna love.
Yeah, great
Oh,
show.
We love doing this for y'all, man. I hope y'all love it, listening to it.
Yeah, and hey, smash the like button, subscribe, bro. Help us grow. Yeah, definitely help us grow. Like we want to make this thing big. You know, we can make some money off this too. I mean, you may see us on ESPN eventually.
Help pay our light bills. Help pay for AV's children. Help pay for Jerry's health care plans. All that stuff.
And AB's help pay for AB's haircuts.
Talking about why I gotta have the children?
Because you're the oldest.
What?
Yeah, by default.
Babies are having babies nowadays.
Not us. Not I.
Marcus, I did see a little kid that looked like you.
Oh no,
AB, I don't even want to talk about kids like you. That 12-year-old that's already playing football, that's your kid.
No, it's not. And that kid is not 12. That guy's got to be like 25 years old.
So he is your kid. He about your age range. That's okay.
He's
That's
25.
little brother right there.
By the way,
I'm 30. What are you talking about?
That's little bro. He's like 4, 5, 6 years. You know.
No. What 12-year-old you know got an arm tattoo and a mustache?
Oh no, he your brother.
No, he's more like you actually.
He was way more like you. Don't even start it, AB.
Because y'all got the same facial features.
no,
You know,
bro.
You has the same mustache you do. You got the same facial features as him. He got the same hairline you do. He just decided to grow dreads instead of that damn Gerald hair on the fade.
Nah, he got your hairline. Don't need to start. He got your hairline.
No.
Don't be trying to get out of this. No. Don't
You
be
don't
trying
want
to.
to show him.
AB, salute to you, bro. I think you deleted the picture, which is hilarious.
Wait, what?
Did you delete the picture?
Yes,
Oh, never mind. That's right here. This is what we talking about.
That's your people, bro. No,
That's AB. That's literally AB's like brother.
AB Junior, bro.
Like everybody that's still on here watching this, y'all expect me to believe that's a 12-year-old?
Look at the mustache.
He look like you.
That boy look like AB, man. Look at the mustache, bro. I'm crying.
No way.
Got a full-blown mustache, dreads hanging back. He got Marcus hairline. Marcus do look like you. I'm just saying.
That's all you, bro. Don't even try to get it.
That's your little brother or cousin or something.
Yeah, that's your brother. Accept it, embrace it, bask in it.
Watch, he gonna show up. Marcus is his family. I have a big fan with you. This dude gonna show
All
up.
it's because you love claiming AB. Why not claim him too, man?
You need to claim him too, bro.
No, because I know who my cousins are.
Hey man, we black, bro. Cousins be long lost, bro. You don't know.
Well, I will say this: when I got to high school, I found out I had like 4 cousins going there. One of them was in my homeroom, and the only way we found out was we went to a family member's house, and he was there. Like we were both there, and they told us, like, "Yeah, you guys are cousins." We didn't for 14 years. We did not even know this. We didn't even know that we found out like that.
That's how it be. Better
And
to be him than
started kicking it.
better that than be a girl that you have a crush on or dating. Just saying.
Oh, brother. Okay, Kevin Gates.
Jerry, I don't think I would have told that in public.
Hey, work for Kevin Gates.
Look, bro, I'm not talking about me.
No, hell no. That sounded way too personal.
I'm just saying.
Way too
I'm
personal.
just saying.
Marcus can even agree with this. That sounded way too personal.
Look, bro. Look, man. Look. When you come from a small town, right? There are times when you have to figure. From my town, people have to figure out like, hey, are we related? All right, I can't date you because we're related. From where I'm from.
Try that in a small town.
So you admit it. You admit it.
It's actually common. Oh, bro, she's cute. Oh, that's your cousin, bro. You can't date her. All right.
But you admit it was you.
Nah. It wasn't me because I knew everybody was my cousin. I wouldn't even talk to the girls from my hometown.
Marcus.
I already knew that.
Marcus, answer me this question right now. Do you believe he's lying?
No.
These are truths.
Stop lying for him.
These are truths.
It's South Georgia, bro. It'd be like that.
It's like that, bro. For real.
I'm in Pensacola, Florida. We a small town too. I ain't got to worry about that.
I don't know about that one.
I ain't got to worry about that. Everybody know everybody here.
Case in point.
We all know. We know who cousins, who ain't.
Sure.
We know that.
Anyway, let's log off.
Yeah, let's go. Let everybody know where they can follow y'all, burner accounts and all.
Jay Breezy II, man, is where you can follow me. That's it. JLamar _ II on Instagram. And I don't use Snapchat, so no need to worry about that.
What the hell?
Also, I'm gonna give some orange, bro, because we hate blue this week. We hate blue this week.
Right, you right. Hold on, you right.
2/3 of us are wearing blue.
Yeah.
I'm the only one with. I mean, I'm wearing black, but
Fair.
it's orange.
Let's count.
The gator is orange. What the? This man pulled out his vitamins. I'm done.
That's right.
Anyways, Marcus Davis 904 per usual. Y'all know the business.
Y'all can follow me on Twitter at Ace or X, whatever the hell y'all call it. On Twitter at AceWade1, on Instagram at Ace_Wade1. Ladies.
No.
Marcus is a freaking hater. You can follow the podcast account on Twitter at wrong one. Inside_Swamp, and on Instagram at Inside_Florida Athletics, and also on TikTok at Inside Swamp 1. Hopefully, we all get together at a game and get some content. If not Arkansas, we definitely all got to get up there for the Florida State game.
Oh, that's
do that.
It's my birthday area around that time, so I gotta go.
Yeah, we got to do that. And by the way, now that I'm not the only one that's been on the West Coast, Marcus, you can start flaming Jerry.
Bro, that was crazy. That was crazy.
How was that anyway?
Amazing, breathtaking.
Yeah, that's how it was. He was scared.
I was scared, bro. I was walking through the Grand Canyon. I thought I was about to fall down, bro. Ain't no rails. I was like, and then we missed a field goal. And I was like looking down at the ground. I'm like, this is thousands of feet. I could jump off right now. Let's miss a field goal. Special team.
Crazy. Suicidal ideation is crazy.
Hey man, it was crazy for
I
sure.
was at the airport when I was watching Florida play. I was on my way. I was at least in the airport. I ain't had to worry about canyons, but nothing like that. But yeah. And by the way, Jonathan, glad to see you on here, man. We definitely got to get you back on.
Yes.
Been a minute. I actually checked in with him a couple weeks ago. Asked how he was doing. He said he was doing good and everything. So that's good, man. But this has been another great episode of the Swamp Inside Florida Athletics. We're gonna leave you as we always do. God bless. Go Gators. Y'all stay safe out there. Take care of your loved ones. Tell them you love them every day. Take care of your mentals. Take care of your chicken. Got to reiterate this again.
Always.
Wash your face. Wash your hands. Marcus.
With soap, with water, warm water preferably. The loofah,
Please.
washcloths, whatever the hell you do. I am begging you. Wash your ass thoroughly.
And take care of your temple, because this is temple work. Let's go, man.
Exactly. And by the way, Marcus, you forgot. Wear socks and shoes in the movie. Matter of fact, the hell with it. Wear socks and shoes in public. Period.
Please,
Even
you know,
the toast thing. Hey.
Don't nobody want to see your. Hey, God.
anybody trying to try to see or smell your halitosis, not halitosis.
And don't nobody want to see your foot fungus. We ain't got time for that.
We don't want to see your bunions.
Don't nobody got time for your bunion juice.
Please,
I mean,
our instructions. We don't want to smell. We don't want to walk in the movie theater and have it smell like onion rings. Ain't nobody eating onion rings.
Oh my God.
This is unhinged right here.
Oh, no.
Mark Anthony?
That's crazy. Yo! you ain't.
I quit. I'm done, bro.
And with that, we are out of time. Thank you all for watching.
God bless y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Oh, man. Hell. Man, come on, man.
Why would you say that?
All right.